Good evening, Patriots. Welcome to the Raw Feed on this historic Good Friday, a day when we not only remember Christ's ultimate sacrifice, but it also happens to mark the 250th anniversary of Paul Revere's midnight ride that changed the course of American history. I'm Gary Franchi, broadcasting live from just outside Chicago on day 88 of Trump's triumphant return to the White House. Yes, 88, where we're going. We don't need Democrats, right? That's what Doc Brown would say. Anyway, I thought I'd throw that in there. 88, 88 miles an hour. Anyway, just as Paul Revere sounded the alarm to warn of British tyranny, we are here tonight to sound the modern alarm, because the enemies of freedom aren't coming by sea or land anymore. They're embedded in our institutions, manipulating our media, and corrupting our government from within. Now, before we dive in, I need to do something absolutely critical right now. Text this live stream to at least 5 patriots who need to hear what's coming next. The digital revolutionaries ride tonight, folks, and you are essential to break through the algorithm blockade that they have built around the truth. We're streaming simultaneously across YouTube to millions worldwide, plus Rumble and X platforms you must absolutely follow us on, because when they finally pull the plug here, and of course they will, you'll know exactly where to find us. Now, tonight's explosive lineup would make Paul Revere himself mount up and ride again. We're exposing the bureaucratic purge, sending shockwaves through Washington with the accountability reset. What exactly is Schedule F, and why are career officials trembling at its mere mention? Then we're uncovering why a sitting U.S. senator is flying to El Salvador to defend an MS-13 gang member, while CNN transforms his identity from criminal to victim. Ask yourself, why did MSNBC cut their feed when President Trump started reading the facts? Next, the veil is finally lifting on the RFK assassination files after 60 years of darkness. Why were those explosive documents never digitized, and what might they reveal about one of America's most tragic chapters? We're also diving into the shocking zero-point energy technology that government insiders have confirmed was intentionally suppressed. Why keep unlimited energy from the American people, and who benefits from our continued dependence? All this, plus Trump's Department of Government Efficiency causing a swamp meltdown of epic proportions, and the globalist carbon tax scheme crushing Canadian families while armed police and ready to silence dissent. Now, throughout the show, we'll be featuring your Super Chats and your Rumble Rants on screen between segments. Those Super Chats get priority because you patriots fuel this operation. And speaking of support, the links to donate directly are in the description. That's right. Donation links, we don't have to split that with YouTube. Remember, every dollar helps us bypass the censors determined to silence the truth. We've also launched our channel memberships with exclusive perks at different levels. Support the channel, gain special access to the Next News team, and, of course, behind-the-scenes video and our 24/7 Discord chat room, where you can hang out with members around the clock who love the truth and share it amongst themselves. And don't forget our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com, where you can gear up with exclusive Next News swag that tells the world where you get your real news. And just as Easter Sunday will remind us of resurrection and renewal, tonight's show is about America's own resurrection from the ashes of corruption, censorship, and control. This is the Raw Feed, where the truth rides again. Let's dive in and welcome you to the show. Sure, you in the house. Maya's in the house. America needs heroes. Duty to Rebel. Pothead Kenny. Who else is here? Joe Baggy, Matt Dugan, Craig, and Jerome, and Irving is here, and Ryan, and Salad, and who else is in the house? We've got Mike, Matena, Fast One, Andy Fox, Renee. Remember, when you're sounding off in the comments, let us know where you're watching from and what kind of device. It's always good to know just how big the Next News family is, especially if you're watching from overseas. I really enjoy seeing everyone tuning in from all over the world. This is a worldwide broadcast. Who else is in the house? We've got East Dallas Alice in the house. Live Free or Die. Craig already giving a membership. American Needs Heroes. Mike, East Dallas Alice. R. Boyd, Bearded Roofer, Jay Truss, Jeff Gedboy, Who else is here? Ryan. Healthcare Matters. Cruisin' Kev in the Philippines. What's up, Cruisin'? Who else is here? Let's see. Make sure you hit that share button, man. Things are actually really strange lately. You guys could probably see it in the numbers. It's wild. Kev the Tech is here. Lone Yukon. Make sure you share this because as of late, I've seen a massive drop in numbers, and I can only attribute that to just more rampant suppression of our work here. So the only way we can bypass that is you guys. You guys are our secret weapon. So you have to share this feed. You have to copy the link, post it into your chat rooms, post it into your Facebook groups, put it on your cell phone, your SMS, text it out to everybody, repost it, go to our X account, repost the feed, get this out far and wide. It's totally bizarre. Yeah, you've noticed it too, sure you? Yeah, it's totally weird. Like normally when we would pop this stream off live, we would immediately have like thousands and thousands of people watching. And as of late, the numbers have really dropped off, and it's kind of concerning to me. It only tells me that we're getting suppressed. Yeah, our boy, do you notice it too? Yeah, YouTube hammering us again. It was wild after they remonetized the channel. It felt like everything was removed, all the censors, everything, and now it feels like they've just turned all the censorship apparatus back on. So, but anyway, we don't care. We're going to keep pushing forward because you guys help us pass through these algorithmic shifts, and that's all we can rely on because the truth is going to pierce. Okay, so that's what we got to do. Let's get into our first topic of the evening here. Something extraordinary is happening in Washington right now, folks. Behind closed doors, a seismic shift is underway that has career bureaucrats trembling. What exactly is Schedule F, and why does its mere mention send shockwaves through the administrative state? Well, tonight we'll reveal the bombshell executive action that could fundamentally transform how government operates, and that's not all. What if I told you that the official COVID.gov website has undergone a complete metamorphosis overnight? What explosive information has suddenly appeared that contradicts everything that we've been told for years? Who's being named directly on a government website as responsible for a massive cover-up? And why are White House staffers now openly singing Amazing Grace in the halls of power? Well, the accountability revolution has begun, and the implications are staggering, so stay tuned as we expose the full story that the mainstream media is desperately trying to bury. And as we move through 2025, one thing stands crystal clear. De-dollarization is accelerating worldwide. China and BRICS nations fear President Trump's America First policies, making them even more determined to reduce dollar dependence and establish themselves as economic rivals. Well, their secret weapon is gold. You know, China has resumed buying gold reserves, but deliberately underreports their purchases. And I'll ask you, do you know why they do that? It's because they recognize gold's inherent global value and its stability during economic upheaval. It's not about nations, it's about protecting your family's future. In our uncertain economic landscape, gold provides a personal hedge against instability, and Noble Gold Investments, our sponsor, helps secure your financial future through precious metals ownership. Visit nextnewsgold.com to learn how, and qualified accounts receive 10 1-ounce silver American Eagle coins as a bonus. That's quite a bonus, especially at the price of silver now. Remember, nextnewsgold.com and the number on the screen, 877-646-5347. Make sure when you talk to Colin, you tell him that Gary Franchi sent you directly. All right, let's get into it. Before we start, I do want to point out that, yeah, there's already liberal meltdowns happening. It's, you know, this appears to be an Olive Garden, I think. Let's take a look here. You guys got to see this. Let me pull up this shot. You can see the full thing. The cops got called, but this is typical. The woman, or a man, older man, big ass beard, wearing a MAGA hat, and then this liberal comes up and just goes nuts, absolutely nuts.
And you have a baby here with you. You're a disgusting, sick, vile, fucking weirdo. Oh my God, it's fucking right. You dumb bitch, you're with this shit. He doesn't want me or you to have equality. Oh my God, go pray for me. Touch me and watch me touch his fucking hands. I want to hit and get away. Sit down. Get out. You're not welcome here. You don't want these people here. You're not welcome. You want me to make you be okay and comfortable in this one? Who
proud of this man. This man here is going to keep people like he.
Somebody else. Thank you, sir. Very talented. You don't like the fire service? You don't like veterans? Why are you in this Mexican restaurant wearing that hat? That don't make any damn sense. And then y'all right now, this is crazy shit right here. This is some fucked up shit. And you have a baby here with you. You're a disgusting.
Oh, okay.
sick,
So,
vile, fucking.
and did you see what was on her shirt? Yeah, she has a Luigi Mangione as a saint on her shirt. That tells you everything you need to know about this woman right here. She is lifting up Luigi Mangione as a saint. That is the liberal left for you today. I should also point out that on this day, the 88th day of President Trump's return, happens to be 250 years to the date since 1775 that Paul Revere rode to warn of British invasion. Trump used tweets instead of horses to sound alarms to his followers. Two men, different centuries, both rallying supporters against what they believed as threats to American liberty. Check out that picture. Absolutely amazing. We've got some more stuff here. Okay, so what is up with this Schedule F everyone is talking about? Tim Pool broke it down. The Trump administration moving forward with Schedule F, which will make it easier to fire federal employees. The rule is expected to strip civil service protections from approximately 50,000 federal workers, about 2% of the federal workforce. And here is, looks like Kash Patel talking with Tim Pool. Now, I'm not sure if this is... this may be before he was the FBI director. Let's listen.
So the next tier beyond is criminal prosecutions is Schedule F and terminations across the board.
Yeah.
We're here at the Libertarian Party National Convention, and if Trump goes out there and says, "I'm gonna fire them all," the whole crowd just cheers, erupts.
Look, here's the thing. When I was his deputy for DNI, or when I was running DOD for him, we did. People think it's a myth. They're like, you can't fire government employees. I'm like, why not? What? Well, it's a tradition. What?
It's a terrible tradition. We keep up our traditions all the time.
I was
Let's
like,
get rid
it's
of
like
this
the
one.
DOJ telling me it's a tradition not to prosecute
So I'm a
presidents during
progressive in
presidential
this
interview,
issue.
except Donald Trump.
Right.
Yeah. So we fired a ton of people. We eliminated a lot of waste. Nobody said anything. And also, if these people are in violation of internal regulations, which a ton of them have already admitted to during the Biden administration, by going public, by breaking regs, you can fire them. So while you don't need to fire everybody, you could fire a ton of people, and
You could fire everybody, though.
but you
Feels
could.
like, well, but
we need some. There's a lot of good guys left in. I'm telling you, there's still a lot of good folks left in there.
Right.
They're waiting.
I say the best government is no government, but that's my own personal opinion.
But there's
so
a myth
I'm
that
biased.
there's a myth that people are like, oh, who's doing the books? The employee books or whatever. We need 4,000 employees to be appointed when Trump goes in. I was like, where'd you get this 4,000 number? Like, well, every president has said we need 4,000. Why do we need 4,000? Why not? Give me 500 good guys.
Yeah.
The other 3,500 are the people causing the problems that you end up putting in government. They end up being people like Fiona Hill or John Bolton or Mike Pompeo or Mark Esper or Gina Haspel or Rod Rosenstein. I mean, the list goes on. Like, you don't need them all.
Yeah, you don't need them all. And President Trump is advancing his plans to make it easier to fire tens of thousands of federal workers. He said he would move forward with a rule previously known as Schedule F, allowing agencies to quickly remove employees from critical positions who engage in misconduct. Check it out.
traumatized.
Laura, President Trump promised that he would do this. So what does this do, and how many workers would this affect?
So Schedule F changes the job classification of nonpartisan federal workers, designating them as political appointees. And so bottom line, it makes it easier for the president to fire anyone that he considers disloyal and replace them with complete loyalists to his cause and to his agenda. Now, Schedule F
Sounds like a good idea to me. Because if you're not with the agenda, then what the hell are you doing there?
was a part of the Project 2025 blueprint from the Heritage Foundation.
Oh my God! Project 2025. Holy cow, it's actually happening, folks. This is all part of the blueprint. Oh my goodness. Ah! Good. Execute Project 2025. trying to do my best Emperor Palpatine voice. Order 66. Anyway.
And OMB Director Russ Vought was key in drafting this during the first administration, but they were not able to implement it during the first administration. And Russ Vought said throughout the campaign that they wanted to traumatize federal workers. And the White House estimates that this will impact some 50,000 federal workers that could be laid off, but government experts say that that's probably a minimum.
So what happens next? And has there been, I imagine, pushback to this?
There has been pushback. But so first, what happens is a White House official said that agencies have until April 20th to hand them the lists of who they think should be reclassified in their agencies. But Everett Kelly, the president of the American Federation of Government Employees, said that this is another in a series of deliberate moves by this administration to corrupt the federal government and replace qualified public servants with political cronies.
To corrupt the federal government with political cronies? Actually, it's in reverse. See, the federal government is loaded with Democrat political crony operatives, deep state operatives, who are roadblocks to the administration's agenda. So that's why we're going to get rid of them. How funny is that? Government union people, right? Projection.
FG says that they are going to sue the administration, and they're the largest union representing federal workers.
So this is part of
whatever. Yeah, sue. You can sue all you want. All right, cry, 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 just like this woman at Olive Garden. But I'm not going to cry when I go fill up my gas tank, because remember, we were told that Trump would increase the price of gas and eggs. But what happens? The prices keep on dropping. Check out this picture. $2.61 for regular 87 octane. Dustin Gregel posting this just a few hours ago, making gas prices great again. I'm going to get a sticker, and it's going to have President Trump on it, and it's going to have him pointing, and I'm going to put it on every freaking gas tank, every gas pump. I did that. Right? Remember the old Joe Biden? I did that when prices were going up. Yeah, well, now it's going to work in the opposite as prices come down. Donald Trump right now, moving forward, career government employees working on policy matters will be classified as scheduled policy career. If these government workers refuse to advance policy interests of president or are engaging in corrupt behavior, they will no longer have a job. This will allow the federal government to finally be run like a business. Okay, let's keep going on this. The Trump administration will announce a new rule, Schedule F, that will make it easier to remove federal employees undermining the president's agenda, according to Axios. And did you guys see the new website, COVID.gov? It's been completely overhauled into a massive lab leak data center displaying scientific proof that COVID was man-made in Wuhan, China. Do you hear that, YouTube? That's the official policy of the United States government. The official site now names Dr. Fauci as the criminal who covered up COVID origins. Yeah, censor that shit, would ya? Okay, let's go. This is a screenshot that Benny Johnson posted. Lab leak, the origins. We're going to actually go into the website. We're going to dive deeper, because these pictures don't do it justice, because we're finally getting justice. Here it is, lab leak, the origin. The proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2 publication, which was used repeatedly by public health officials and the media to discredit the lab leak theory, was prompted by Dr. Fauci to push the preferred narrative that COVID-19 originated naturally. So update all your terms of service to reflect the official position of the United States government, not the World Health Organization. Point one. I'm going to make it even bigger. The virus possesses a biological characteristic that is not found in nature. Point two, data shows that all COVID cases stem from a single introduction into humans. This runs contrary to previous pandemics where there were multiple spillover events. Point three, Wuhan is home to China's foremost SARS research lab, which has a history of conducting gain-of-function research, gene altering and organism supercharging at inadequate biosafety levels. I'm old enough to remember when I was called a conspiracy theorist, having videos deleted off this platform for merely mentioning this idea at the beginning of the pandemic. Well, son of a bitch. The conspiracy theorists were freaking right again. God, I am so unbelievably freaking pissed. Wuhan is home to China's foremost SARS research lab, which has a history, yada, yada. Point 4, Wuhan Institute of Virology researchers were sick with COVID-like symptoms in the fall of 2019, months before COVID-19 was discovered at the wet market. By nearly all measures of science, point 5, if there was evidence of a natural origin, it would have already surfaced, but it hasn't. Oh, and they give us a nice little map. There is the Wuhan Institute of Virology, 7.5 miles from the Hunan Seafood Market. Proximal origin publication. The proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2, which was used repeatedly by public health officials and the media to discredit the lab leak theory, was prompted by Dr. Fauci to push the preferred narrative that COVID-19 originated in nature. Gain-of-function research. A lab-related incident involving gain-of-function is the most likely the origin of COVID-19. Current government mechanisms for overseeing this dangerous gain-of-function research are incomplete, severely convoluted, and lack global applicability. EcoHealth Alliance, under the leadership of Dr. Peter Daszak, used taxpayer dollars to facilitate dangerous gain-of-function research in Wuhan, China, after the Select Subcommittee released evidence of EcoHealth violating the terms of its National Institute of Health grant. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services commenced official debarment proceedings and suspended all funding to EcoHealth. New evidence also shows the Department of Justice, DOGE, has opened an investigation into EcoHealth's pandemic-era activities. The failures at the NIH procedures for funding and overseeing potentially dangerous research are deficient, unreliable, and pose a serious threat to both public health and national security. Further, NIH fostered an environment that promoted evading federal record-keeping laws, as seen through the actions of Dr. David Morenz and FOIA lady Marge Moore. And here he is, Dr. Death, receiving his executive grant of clemency. Dr. Joseph R. Biden, President of the United States, hereby grants Dr. Fauci a preemptive pardon for his crimes against humanity. And they post it right here on the official White House website, a full and unconditional pardon for any offenses against the United States, which he may have committed or taken part of from going back to January 1st of 2014. January 1st of 2014. Good God. HHS obstruction. The Biden administration's HHS engaged in a multi-year campaign of delay, confusion, and non-responsiveness in an attempt to obstruct the Select Subcommittee's investigation and hide evidence that could incriminate or embarrass senior public health officials. It appears that HHS even intentionally under-resourced its component that responds to legislative oversight requests. Obstruction at EcoHealth. The president there, Dr. Peter Daszak, obstructed the Select Subcommittee's investigation by providing publicly available information, instructing his staff to reduce the scope and pace of productions, and doctoring documents before releasing them to the public. Further, Dr. Daszak provided false statements to Congress. Dr. David Morenz, Dr. Fauci's senior advisor, deliberately obstructed the Select Subcommittee's investigation, likely lied to Congress on multiple occasions, unlawfully deleted federal COVID-19 records, and shared non-public information about NIH grant processes with EcoHealth President Dr. Peter Daszak. Obstruction in New York. The executive chamber, led by Governor Kathy Hochul, redacted documents, offered numerous illegitimate privilege claims, and withheld thousands of documents without an apparent legal basis to obstruct the Select Subcommittee's investigation into former Governor Cuomo's pandemic-era failures. And they have the Forbes breaking news. This appears to be, not sure exactly what it is. We'll just check it out real quick.
The COVID-19 pandemic was one of the worst public health crises that our country has ever faced. We lost more than 1 million Americans to the virus, family members and neighbors, friends and colleagues, and millions more died around the world. The COVID-19 pandemic led to a once-in-a-generation event that not only threatened our public health, but also created unprecedented challenges to our economic and homeland security, as well as our very way of life. As Americans...
Yeah, that's an understatement. Of course, this goes on and on. World Health Organization, social distancing, mask mandates, lockdowns, New York pandemic failures, the Cuomos. Yeah, what did they do? The failure of Andrew Cuomo, the nursing home disaster, COVID-19 misinformation. Public health officials misled the American people through conflicting messaging, knee-jerk reactions, and lack of transparency. The federal government demonized alternative treatments and disfavored narratives such as the lab leak theory. And of course, I had multiple videos deleted. We had a video, 17 million views, went global, worldwide. Re-uploaded 3,500 times. Right at the beginning of the pandemic. Dr. Rashid Buttar, God rest his soul. The first major breakthrough at the beginning of the pandemic. Even when other conservative websites were still bowing down to Dr. Fauci, we were brave enough to question the narrative. And what do we get in return? We were silenced. Video after video after video as we continue to push back against these false narratives. Deleted, deleted, deleted. COVID-19 misinformation. The misinformation was coming from Dr. Fauci, directly from the top. Content on this page sourced from the House Oversight Committee website, a select committee on the coronavirus pandemic, the Committee on Oversight and Accountability of the U.S. Representatives. Stay in the know. How's that? That is your new official story from the White House on COVID. Whew. Can you tell I'm pissed? I'm sure you guys are too. Okay, let me try to lower my blood pressure here a little bit. Because, yeah, I am furious. After what you and I all went through during that time period, the mandates, the shaming. Did you ever get shamed in the grocery store? The bookstore? Airport? Gas station? Because you were too close to somebody? Because you didn't have your mask on right, or you weren't even wearing one? You didn't have your papers? What about that time when you wanted to go to Thanksgiving dinner? Or maybe it was Christmas. Remember that? Oh, no, you can't come to Christmas. You got to show your papers. Papers for what? Oh, you went and got it? You have papers now? I'll pray for you. Because that's about all I can do. Because this guy right here, pure blood. Pure blood. Oh, I'm so pissed. Ah! But this is time to celebrate. Because we won. I can be as pissed as I want, but we freaking won. If you were one of the few that survived this entire propaganda campaign, the greatest social pressure campaign in American history, everywhere you went. Everywhere you went. Grocery store, gas station, bookstore, social media. family, friends, driving, taking a walk. It was everywhere. The pressure was so immense. Places of business, nurses, military, forced. Pilots, forced. Babies, 2-year-old babies on airplanes being ejected because they wouldn't keep their mask on correctly. If you survived it, you are one of the few to survive the most intense pressure campaign in American history, and I commend you for that. I don't even know where to go with the rest of this segment. What is this? A post from Glenn Beck. Okay. Glenn Beck, 20. I'm trying to like transition out of this, but I'm like so jacked up right now. 24 hours ago, Glenn Beck says, this may be the most insufferable fact check I've ever seen. I don't know. What is it? Let's see.
Is our political and media culture. Well, I'm about to show you. After President Trump and Vice President Vance repeated the figure of 90,000 American factories that have closed in the past 30 years since NAFTA went into effect, the media raced to their fact check mode to find out, is that number accurate? Here's an example. CBS reported, well, actually, the number 90,000, the number relies on data from the U.S. Census Bureau, and that was updated in 2021, shows the actual number of factories closed since 1997 was only 70,500, which, of course, kind of buries the lead that America has lost somewhere between 70 and 90,000 factories over the last 30 years.
Yeah. Thanks to globalization. Kyle Becker, going back to the COVID thing, he says it's epic. The White House just updated their website, COVID website, to add official stance on misinformation, as I just read to you. Kristen Mag, amazing to see this from the White House. Finally, people are celebrating this. And seeing that it's Good Friday, where our Lord and Savior surrendered himself, put himself on the cross, died, and was resurrected. Today, we have a room full of White House, a room of the White House filled with staffers singing Amazing Grace. You know, oh, this song kills me every time too. And considering that we have the grace that we have been granted by God, but the grace that we made it through that freaking pandemic, and the beauty that this White House is setting the record straight, righting all the wrongs that you and I have endured. This is beautiful. There, because what we're witnessing isn't just a policy shift, it's a complete paradigm reset. For decades, the administrative state has operated like a fourth branch of government, immune to elections and accountability. They censored Americans like me and you during COVID, buried evidence of the lab leak, and silenced experts who questioned the narrative. But now, the tables have turned. With Schedule F, the bureaucratic fortress is crumbling. With the COVID.gov overhaul, years of deliberate deception are now finally being exposed. And with White House staffers openly singing Amazing Grace, oh man, the cultural shift is undeniable. This administration isn't just challenging the deep state. It's systematically dismantling it, piece by piece. The permanent government believed they could wait out this presidency like the last one. Well, they were wrong. So here's the question all Americans should be asking. If they lied about COVID's origin for years, what else have they been hiding from us? If you want to support this show, support our efforts here, go grab a hat. Link in the description. God bless you. There's a live look at the White House where history is being made. Right there. History is being made here. Oh, Angie. God bless you too. Yeah. Loyalty to truth. Talk about emotional whiplash. Extreme anger to touching tears. Yeah, it's a swing, man. After what we've gone through, what we've endured, to see that change happen, it's like total vindication. Okay, I gotta get myself together here. Tony, dropping $2. Thank you. Don't hold back. Tell it like it is. Love it. Thank you. Also, another $2 from Tony. I'm never tired of winning like everyone else here. Oh. Charles, I love that song. One of my favorite hymns. Yeah. Queen Angie. No one is messing with me, Juan. Nobody. I'm just getting kind of worked up. This news, like, I try to compartmentalize this stuff. I try to isolate these elements so I can try to live a normal life. But when you're exposed to extreme news on a daily basis, mentally, it is very difficult to compartmentalize. And years ago, I used to be able to do it very well. I could easily compartmentalize my news life and my normal life. But after the pandemic, after the election, it was like the most tyrannical psychological operation that I had ever endured. And to have to come out on the other side of this now, seeing that website, it's like I look back through this tunnel of like darkness and tyranny. And but I'm on the other side now. Like I'm standing in the light, and I'm like don't even know how to emotionally process it. You know, some people are like, oh, Franchi, you're just a softie. You cry too much on your show. Well, fuck off. All right? Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to curse, but you know what? Sometimes, like, anyway. Sorry. I gotta get myself together. I gotta get this show on. I have to, like, where are we at even here? Oh. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Tony, thank you. Dropping $5 on a Friday. God bless you. Gary, there's a lot of love in this room right now. God days are coming. God days are here. Thank you, Juan, for dropping 10 Next News Network memberships. All right. $9 in chat revenue. See, what's up? 663 concurrent viewers on YouTube. And I'm looking at 1,188 on X and only 88 on Rumble. I mean, 90 people on Rumble. I mean, what's the point of even like bothering to like push data to Rumble? I don't even understand it. They don't do anything for us. I mean, we're getting more views on X right now than on YouTube. I've never seen that before. What the hell is going on here? Anyway. All right, I got to get my shit together. G. Davis, how about you eat a dick? All right, buddy? All right. Yeah. I'm just reading your comments. Let it out, Maya. Your amazing character. Keep us coming back, Pamela. Thank you. All right. Okay, where are we at? Benny's shows are down too? Really? Well, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. I don't watch Benny's stuff. I see his stuff on X, but I haven't checked his YouTube channel in a very long time. So, I don't know. I'll have to analyze and see if there's any trending going on. Okay, where are we at? Let's go. Let's get it going. Brian, let's go. What happens when a known MS-13 gang member with ties to domestic violence gets deported? Well, you'd think it'd be a simple case of justice served. But why is a U.S. senator suddenly flying to El Salvador, and why is CNN rushing to this individual's defense, sanitizing his background and transforming him from a gang member to a Maryland man overnight? What powerful interests are working behind the scenes to bring this person back to our country? And most disturbing of all, why are the families of real MS-13 victims being completely ignored by the same media that claims to care about justice? Well, tonight we're pulling back the curtain on perhaps the most blatant case of media manipulation you've ever witnessed. The story they don't want you to question is about to be exposed, and the implications reach to the highest levels of power. And while the media manipulates MS-13 gang narratives, your skin shouldn't be deceived by aging. A groundbreaking 2024 study shows that daily collagen dramatically reduces wrinkles and improves firmness. Unlike the sanitized gang member coverage, this science is transparent and effective. Our premium multi-collagen formula features 5 essential types from 4 different sources, crucial for reducing wrinkles and improving elasticity. It blends into every beverage with virtually no taste. And your order today will include free VIP health coaching, a skin health ebook, free shipping, and a 60-day guarantee. Every purchase also feeds a hungry child. Get 51% off at healthwithgary.com. You can take action. in the link in the description. Now, have you seen this meme? The right to bear memes. Grand old memes himself, one of the great meme smiths of our age, encapsulated the Democrat hypocrisy in one startling image. As you recall, when Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi took a knee for George Floyd, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez raced down to the border to see the kids in cages that Donald Trump locked up. Yeah. Grand old memes took it upon himself to superimpose those images right outside an MS-13 prison in El Salvador. I mean, it says everything you need to say. I mean, I could end this report right now. That's it. Because this is the Democrat Party right now. If you saw a report yesterday, you would have seen what we posted about Hillary Clinton. I mean, she's defending MS-13. I can't even believe this is happening. I mean, I guess when they defend George Floyd, who, you know, coroner reports clearly show the man died of a drug overdose. The media propped him up as a saint. Mostly peaceful. Burning buildings behind me, right? I guess it's not a far stretch for them to go ahead and defend MS-13. It's all virtue signaling. Grand old memes, if you haven't followed him on X yet, you need to do so right away. So let's jump into the thread we've just published on our X feed. If you're not following us on X, I'm not sure what you're doing. Mainstream media defending MS-13 gang member deported El Salvador. CNN Democrat senators siding with criminal alien over American victims. They're showing their true colors while ignoring the domestic violence and terrorism connections. Oh, here's a nice little photograph. Oh, yeah. There's a senator hanging out with MS-13. He's got a nice fresh T-shirt on, a brand new baseball cap. They're enjoying some fresh bottled water. Looks like a nice little hotel lobby. Oh, this guy could not possibly be a gang member. Oh, but he's not showing you his tattoos, is he? No. But this is the picture that will be seen around the world. The virtue signal heard around the world. Look at this, folks. The liberal media caught red-handed covering for MS-13 terrorists. They call these animals alleged gang members while our borders wide open. The party that claimed to protect women now defending wife beaters.
Is in.
But I mean,
El Salvador.
Wait. The party that claims to protect women now defending wife beaters. Well, they also allow men in women's bathrooms. So this is really, again, not a far stretch for the Democrat Party.
I see these pictures tonight, and I think, boy, the party of women is really covering itself in glory tonight. I mean, I don't understand why the American left falls in love with the worst people. You've got a gang-banging, human trafficking, wife-beating, illegal alien, and a United States senator in a ludicrous display of energy is in El Salvador having Mai Tais and Yahtzee. I do not get it. I do not understand why the left takes on the heroes. I don't get it.
I think, I'm not
allegedly in there somewhere. I'm just wondering.
He is a Democrat United States senator.
I don't think this is an issue.
I see these pictures tonight, and I think, boy, the party of women is really covering itself in glory tonight.
El Salvador president knows the truth. He's keeping the MS-13 terrorists where he belongs while Democrat globalists try to bring him back. They change the facts to fit the narrative. This is what they don't want you to know. Here's Caitlin Collins talking to our border czar, Tom Homan, on CNN.
You say to that? I've seen some people look at this and say they're worried that the stance of this administration when it comes to this is that if someone is deported by accident, that they have no responsibility for them once they are in the custody of a foreign government. What would you say to that?
Well, they're in the custody of El Salvador. He's an El Salvadoran national. He was born in El Salvador. El Salvador has him in custody, and El Salvador decide what will happen to him. I mean, again, the El Salvadoran president made it clear he's not going to release him. So again, I'm going to go back. The DOJ, they can fight this out in the courts. I'm not a part of that. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a prosecutor. So we'll let the courts, decide what the next steps will be.
Even though it was a U.S. immigration judge who said the one place he can't go is El Salvador. I mean, he could have been deported literally anywhere else.
Again, we can keep going back and back, but again, that was years ago. Country conditions were different. That gang no longer exists in El Salvador. He had been designated a terrorist since that time. 2 different federal judges said he's an MS-13 member. A police department said he's an MS-13 member. ICE data shows he's an MS-13 member. El Salvador says he's an MS-13 member. As you know, MS-13 has been designated terrorist. The case has the facts of the case have changed since that first decision. So again, I'll leave it up to the DOJ to argue that case in court, but that is where I stand, and that's my belief.
I've seen some people...
Wake up, America. One party fights for you while the other fights for illegal alien terrorists. AOC and her globalist handlers want more MS-13 on your streets. Trump fights for Americans while Democrats fight for criminal aliens. Connect the dots. Here is Stephen Miller on Hannity.
Terrorist illegal. Sean, we've reached a point in American politics where we have one party led by President Donald Trump that fights for Americans, and a second party, I guess led by AOC, that fights for illegal aliens. But not just illegal aliens, criminal, wife-beating, terrorist illegal aliens. 2 immigration judges, as you said, found that he was a member of MS-13, as did the arresting police department here nearby in Prince George's County. On top of that, we have, of course, the protective order filed by his wife, alleging horrific, multiple instances.
There were 2?
Yes, of extreme, violent physical abuse. And then on top of all of that, he's an illegal alien and a member of what has been designated as a foreign terrorist organization. You have the entire machinery of the Democrat Party using all of its power not to fight for lower costs, as President Trump is, or better trade deals, as President Trump is, or lower taxes, as President Trump is, but to fight to bring this illegal alien with all those horrific crimes and allegations and history against him back to the United States, where he can do what? He can commit additional acts that threaten the safety of the American people. This is the biggest, sharpest contrast you will ever see between the priorities of President Trump and the priorities of the Democrat Party.
Yeah. Breaking now, Senator Van Hollen denied entry to El Salvador's Secot prison, where the MS-3 gangbanger Abrego Garcia is being rightfully held. Now he's complaining about illegal detention while ignoring his violent crimes. Democrat politicians fighting for terrorists instead of Americans.
Nobody has any. I'm here with Chris Newman, who is the attorney for the wife and mother of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. And we just tried to go visit him in prison just to check on his conditions. Is he doing okay? Because nobody has any communication with him since he was illegally abducted from Maryland and sent to Secot prison in El Salvador, which, as a U.S. District Court judge said, was a violation of all his due process rights. Today's purpose was just to see what his health condition is. And these soldiers were ordered to prevent us from going any farther from this spot. I understand we're about 3 kilometers now from Secot. And as you can see, they're letting other cars go by, but they stopped us because they're under orders not to allow us to proceed to check on the well-being of Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
Yeah, nice virtue signal there, pal. Heartbreaking news here. Mother whose daughter was murdered by illegal aliens now speaks out. Where are the Democrat senators for her?
Sir, there's been more than one murder here in Harford County. There was Kaylee Hamilton in 2023 or 2022. It was my daughter back in 2023. And at the time, they knew that they were immigrants that were in this country illegally, so they broke federal law. They committed crimes, violent crimes. They broke state law. And yet there was no outcry, or anger that these crimes were being committed against these women and children. And now I have a senator who's in El Salvador who is loudly advocating for another immigrant who's in the country illegally, has broken federal law by doing that, has beaten his wife, violence, has broken state law by doing that, and yet his actions are he's advocating for this man. And he's saying, well, he's a dad. You know, he's been a good guy. He's been here. There are a lot of fathers that are in jail. The point is, they keep saying, you know, rule of law, rule of law. But by him going down there, he's advocating for this person that has actually broken the law that he claims to be upholding.
The corrupt system is working overtime. When judges side with criminals, it's due process. But when they protect Americans, it's wrong. They're rewriting the rules to destroy our nation from within. It's because these people hate America. Let's check in on this CNN panel.
Violence charges again. He did have due process. Everything we know about him is documented because he did go through the court systems. He was stopped for trafficking. His wife did file these domestic violence charges against him. He was arrested with MS-13 members with a roll of cash that had the eyes and the ears and the mouths of the presidents erased, which is an MS-13 markings. This is all non-disputed. So
nothing you're talking about
doesn't stop halfway.
But I'm saying he already got his due process, and he got a deportation order.
No,
so the
process
idea that
isn't
somehow
finished
he
because
has
the
not...
judge told them not to do it. So due process doesn't stop when you like the outcome.
Yeah, keep defending it. Keep defending it. You look like a fool.
It's a whole process. So
But
that's
I think
why we
that's
have
what you guys are doing. Like when they side with the criminals, it's due process, and when they side against the criminals, suddenly they didn't
I've been
get
giving
due
this
process.
a lot of
That's
thought
what it looks
because
like.
I want to actually make sure that things.
Oh, don't think too hard, honey. Don't give it too much thought. We don't want you to break your brain.
That I come up here and argue, I actually believe in. And so I was thinking, I was like, am I just against this because Donald Trump is saying? I'm not.
I really admire that.
I'm not. But the thing that makes me better than the criminal is that I treat them with humanity and dignity despite of what they have done. And that when their judgment is placed on, then they have to live with it. But I cannot assign judgment to people because I don't like something. We have a system of law, and I would hope that the same due process that I received, that everyone's received. That's what makes our country.
Because you are an American citizen. You get more due process.
that is what makes.
Oh man, the logic this woman is trying to present.
Our country wonderful is because it's for people in this land.
You know what, Batia, except the one the Democrats are
I
trying
think
to
you are
enforce.
right. Hold on, you're actually right to a degree that in this particular instance, he is going through an immigration process. But even in that process, which is largely administrative, it's not a jury situation, it's not as lengthy and as detailed, it's the standard is not beyond a reasonable doubt, it's the preponderance of evidence. Even by that standard, they did not, according to several judges, give him that process. So they didn't even give him a truncated process.
They sent him to the wrong country. But in any other country he could be sent to, they could put him in prison, and they probably will, because he's a wife beater, and that's where he belongs.
Look,
Caught in the act. MSNBC immediately cuts the broadcast when President Trump starts reading the facts about the Salvadorian MS-13 gangbanger Kilmar Abrego Garcia. They don't want you to know the truth about the violent criminals they're defending. Fake news media protecting their own narrative. Here's the moment.
In 2019, Garcia was issued a deportation order. Two separate judges affirmed Garcia was a member of MS-13, which is a gang that may be even worse.
We've been watching President Donald Trump there swearing in the new administrator of the CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, Dr. Mehmet Oz, during this conversation.
Yep. We're going to cut in on that one. We don't want the truth to get out too far. Mainstream media now threatening foreign leaders who stand against the globalist agenda. They're promising El Salvador will suffer when Democrats return to power. Pure intimidation tactics from the deep state. Mockingbirds.
Washington, D.C. And I just think it's
Joe Scarborough, of all people, the Morning Joe on MSNBC. Let's hear what this guy's got to say.
Curious that foreign leaders often make the same mistake that, and I know you've heard it, and I've heard it, somebody gets elected president, and everybody in Washington, D.C. for about 6 months thinks, well, this person's going to be president forever. And we've got to move all of our policy. And then about 6 months in, you're like, oh, wait. Yeah, gravity. Yeah, it still exists. Political gravity still exists. The contempt the president of El Salvador has for United States rule of law, the mocking of people in the United States, it's as if somebody in El Salvador hasn't told him that there are going to be elections a year from now. And I think most smart money right now would say Democrats are going to do pretty well. So Democrats will be funding whatever aid El Salvador gets. And I find foreign leaders make this mistake time and time again. They have this myopic vision. This is happening in America right now. American media exaggerates this, makes it seem far grimmer or far more, intense than it actually may be. We better put all of our chips on this side of the table. And then they find out a year and a half later, they're dealing with the other party when it comes to funding. I'm just curious your thoughts about what you're seeing, the contempt out of El Salvador for a president who, whether he likes it or not, a year from now is going to be depending on Democrats most likely for funding and aid.
So, Joe, President Bukele was a tough guy, disdainful of law, normal procedures before Donald Trump ever got to the White House in his second term. That's who he is. And there's a growing movement of leaders in Central and South America who were similarly taking very harsh stands against gang members, cartels. That's just the way the South and Central America is rolling right now.
And I just think,
and that's the way it should be. Trump is activating the Roosevelt Reservation. The military now has authority at the border. Border Patrol finally supported after years of sabotage. Cartels using drones to spy on American soil. This is the invasion they will not talk about, but we will tell you here.
In Texas, because just to start with the border.
This is Secretary Burgum on Fox Business.
I mean, what a connection between two incredible presidents. Theodore Roosevelt in 1907 had the vision and the foresight when the border was being, clearly established between New Mexico, Arizona, California, running across the southern border, not including Texas, because Texas was its own country first for 10 years before they became a state. But along that thing, there's a piece of 60-foot strip of land called the Roosevelt Reservation. That 60-foot strip in the 1907 initial commissioning of that said, hey, if there's a point in the future, if we got to stop smuggling, was a word that they were used that time, we should allow the federal government to control this. So we're transferring the Roosevelt Reservation to the DOD. If someone now steps across the border onto that strip controlled by the Department of Defense, they're basically trespassing on a defense installation. And with that allows our military that are at the southwestern border that they can detain someone until the Border Patrol, who has arrest authority, can arrive. So it allows for greater coordination and a stronger legal foundation between the great work that's going on between our Border Patrol and the DOD. And I got to tell you, down there, the morale of people working in the Border Patrol, I had folks, career dedicated leaders down there that said that this is the most supported they'd felt in their entire career, decades of time working for the Border Patrol. And that's why, in part, you're seeing the great results. We've got the staffing down there to actually support that. And one thing I should say, people say, oh, the military, is this thing still going on? Thousands of incursions by drones coming from cartels who are well funded, sending those drones over the United States property to do surveillance as they still continue to find ways to struggle people and narcotics into our country.
Drone overflights from the cartels. Millions standing in line legally While globalists push 10.5 million illegals ahead, this is the long game. Overwhelm the system, create chaos, destroy America from within, and they're using their tax dollars to replace you. Here is the border czar, Tom Homan, on MSNBC.
The greatest nation on earth. The American people voted for this. American people voted for Donald Trump. This is number one issue. Vast majority of Americans want illegal aliens moved from this country. And it's done humanely. However, we got to remember this. There are millions of people standing in line, taking their tests, doing their background investigation, paying their fees to be part of the greatest nation on earth. They're sitting in the back seat while 10.5 million illegal aliens came to this border, enter this country illegally, which is a violation of law. There's right way and right way to come to this country legally. The people who came across, they call them asylum seekers, but you and I both know, if you look at the immigration court data, 9 out of 10 of those so-called asylum seekers will end up with an order removal. They overwhelm the system on purpose. Why? Because they know it's going to take 5, 7, 9 years to have a hearing, which they will lose, but now they have U.S. citizen kids. Now they own equities. Now there may be Democratic administration in power, which will award amnesty. They're playing the long game, but we're enforcing laws as enacted by Congress, which you remember of. We're not making this up. We're enforcing laws on the books, including the Alien Enemies Act, which is an act created by Congress. We're simply using laws on the books to make this country safe again.
Miller unleashing. Sanctuary cities are engaged in systemic criminal violations. Check this out. Here's a press gaggle he gave at the White House.
Yeah, as well as, sir, when are we going to see accountability and consequences for sanctuary state and local officials that are violating 8 USC 1324 by harboring illegal aliens? Yeah. As well as, isn't it kind of bizarre that Chris Van Hollen tried to smuggle and facilitate the re-entry of this illegal alien, also in violation of 8 USC 13?
Yeah, we also haven't heard any stories about the Logan Act this time around for whatever reason. So it's a great question. Thank you. And a knowledgeable question. I don't get a lot of questions around here where people are citing the Immigration and Nationality Act. So that's great. You're exactly right that the sanctuary cities are engaged in multiple criminal violations: harboring, smuggling, inducing, obstructing justice, obstructing official proceedings, and many other crimes. And this is something that the Department of Justice is taking a very hard look at. I'll just say that it is my view, the view of this administration, that these cities are engaged in systemic criminal violations and that they are engaged in a scheme to nullify and obstruct the duly enacted laws of the United States of America. And I would again note, when we talk about morality, talk about decency, sanctuary cities shield criminal illegal aliens from removal. We repeatedly go into communities and arrest illegal aliens who were previously in custody, that they refused to turn over, that were sent back onto the street, that have subsequently raped or abused a child. I just want you to think about that for a second. You have sanctuary cities like Los Angeles, like Boston, like Chicago, where illegal aliens will be booked, arrested, placed into city or state custody, charged with serious crimes. ICE will ask them to be turned over for deportation. They will willfully release them back onto the street, obstructing federal law enforcement, doing so at a time and place of their choosing, making sure that we don't know where and when they will be set free. And then those illegal aliens will go out and take someone's son or someone's daughter and abuse and rape them. The word scandal doesn't even come close to describing the enormity of the evil that we are talking about with these policies. But repeatedly subjecting citizens on purpose, deliberately, with malice aforethought, to crimes against them and their families by individuals who by law shall be removed from this country. And we have a whole body of immigration law, by the way, the last administration shredded, that says illegal aliens shall not be allowed to enter the country, shall be detained through removal, shall not be set free. That they chose repeatedly in mass to not only ignore, but to give them parole, to give them work permits, to give them welfare, a scheme to violate our laws. You're not talking about just one time, or 2 times, or 3 times. Millions and millions of times they engage in this scheme. So much criminality that it defies our ability to even catalog it. And the wages of that, the destruction that created, can only be measured in the tears of all the moms and dads whose kids are now dead, whether dead by drugs or dead by crime. And that doesn't even measure the impacts
on our education system. I mean, we always talk about how low our test scores in this country, and no one ever talks about the fact that we have a completely open border until Donald Trump with the world, flooding our schools with students who are not even literate in the language in the countries from which they came. Destroyed our education system, destroyed our infrastructure, destroyed our healthcare system. Where do Americans go to get their cities back? Where do they go to get their lives back? Where do they go to get their lost income? How many small businesses have been closed over the years because they were competing with illegal labor? How many lives and dreams have been destroyed? The other side in this debate, this isn't a debate between two reasonable points of view. It's a debate between a political party led by Donald Trump that believes in nationhood, that believes in sovereignty, that believes in the idea that there is such a thing as citizenship and it's sacred, and a party that is literally waging war against the very idea of nationhood. And as far as they're concerned, every single American citizen who's hurt or killed as a result is acceptable collateral damage. Well, it's not acceptable to Donald Trump, and we're shutting it down, and we'll never apologize for it. Thank you.
Wow, dude. I applaud you, sir. Damn, that was fire from Stephen Miller. The globalist agenda is clear. They want open borders, MS-13 terrorists in your communities, and silence from victims. This isn't about immigration. It's about control and destruction of America. Follow Next News Network on X for the truth they don't want to hear. There's yours truly outside the White House. Oh, and just saw this meme pop up from Juanita Broderick. She just posted this. It is absolutely solid gold. Yeah. There's Senator Van Hollen right there. Clearly crying at the fence of the El Salvadorian prison. Of course, it's an AI-generated meme, but you get the point. What we've witnessed in this MS-13 case isn't just bizarre, it's symptomatic of a fundamental corruption in our institutions. When American citizens are victimized by illegal gang violence, they're told to stay silent. When those same gang members face consequences, the entire media political complex mobilizes in their defense. The pattern is unmistakable. Sanitize the criminal, ignore the victims, rewrite the narrative, and hope Americans don't notice the manipulation. But here's what they miscalculated. Americans aren't as easily fooled as they think. We see the double standard, we see the selective outrage, and we see right through the coordinated PR campaign. So here's the essential question now facing every citizen. Is our immigration system meant to protect Americans or to serve as a political agenda that puts foreign nationals above our own safety? Drop a comment below and get your limited edition Next News gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and send a message they can't ignore. Okay. Wounds Are Us, $10. Thank you. God bless you. Very heartfelt and genuine. Thank you for that. Again, Wounds Are Us, $10. Again, not only is MSNBC, CBS, NBC, CNN disgusting, but Fox is TV for stupid people. Murdochs are as evil as the other networks. Curio23 dropping $4.99. Keep rocking with the show. Still need a zoot suit or Hawaiian short as the main short to your suits. We'll see about that. We will see about that. All right, where are we going next? What is up next on the docket for the raw feed? Oh, yeah. We got lots to get into here. Let's go. For nearly 60 years, they've kept us in the dark. Files locked away, evidence buried, questions unanswered. What really happened the night that Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated? What bombshell announcement has DNI Tulsi Gabbard just made that's sending shockwaves through the intelligence community? And why were these files never digitized, never scanned, and left collecting dust in obscure government warehouses? What explosive revelations might we find in the 10,000 pages being declassified right now, with another 50,000 pages reportedly on the way? And why is it happening now after decades of deliberate suppression by previous administrations? Well, tonight we're going to dive into this unprecedented transparency initiative that's about to change everything that we thought we knew about one of America's darkest chapters, The veil of secrecy is finally lifting, and we'll break down what this means for the official narrative that's been force-fed to Americans for generations. And just as the RFK assassination files were locked away for decades, your chronic pain solution has been hidden too. Before reaching for another ineffective painkiller, discover the turmeric hack that's 200 times more powerful than standard varieties. While government agencies buried crucial RFK documents, they've also overlooked this natural anti-inflammatory breakthrough. Unlike the redacted files finally being released, this formula attacks pain directly at its source, eliminating the need for injections, expensive treatments, or ineffective medications. It works like declassifying the truth about your pain. And watch the revealing video at goldenrevive.com/NNN, link down below, to see how this breakthrough works against stubborn aches. Okay, we got some breaking news, Patriots. Big news today. DNI Tulsi Gabbard has released the RFK assassination files hidden for nearly 60 years. 10,000 pages, declassified, 50,000 more coming soon. Trump's promise of maximum transparency finally being fulfilled, while previous administrations kept us in the dark. Let's go. She says it straight right here. National Archives had RFK and MLK files sitting in boxes for decades. Over 100 people manually scanning thousands of pages that were never digitized before. Teams searching FBI and CIA warehouses for more documents that they never even turned over. Listen.
National Archives related to the Senator Kennedy assassination files, the MLK assassination files. Unlike the JFK files, these have never been scanned. They've never been digitized. These are pieces of paper, hundreds and thousands of them, that have been sitting in boxes at the National Archives and Records Agency. So we've had over 100 people manually scanning every one of these pages, preparing them to fulfill what President Trump promised the American people: maximum transparency and the release of these files that have never been released publicly before. We're not stopping there. We know that not all of those documents have been turned over to the National Archives Agency, and so we've got teams out there going and searching in warehouses at the FBI, at the CIA, and other places to uncover related documents that for one reason or another were never turned over before. So President Trump is very serious, obviously, about working to achieve that maximum transparency. That transparency will allow us to bring about accountability around the Russia collusion hoax, for example. The more we dig, the more we find the extent of the seriousness and the intent of that whole operation was very consistent with what we found in Stalin's operation. Show me the man and I'll show you the crime. It is disheartening to see these things, but it also provides us the opportunity to tell the American people the truth about what's been going on so that we can make sure we try to bring about an end to it and bring about that accountability.
Accountability, it's time. She confirms RFK, MLK assassination files have never been scanned. Documents been locked away in storage for decades, finally being prepared for release.
To scan. And lastly, we've been scanning. I've had over 100 people working around the clock to scan the paper around RFK, Senator Robert F. Kennedy's assassination, as well as Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. These have been sitting in boxes in storage for decades. They have never been scanned or seen before. We'll have those ready to release here within the next few days.
That's great. Bobby, how do you feel about it?
And lastly,
Tulsi tells Fox News the files have been sitting in boxes at the National Archives. Documents from government investigations, State Department cables, and theories posed throughout the investigation. Here's more.
Assassination. Fox News alert, Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, releasing files pertaining to the 1968 assassination of RFK. Just moments ago, this came out public. Tulsi Gabbard joins us now. Great to see you, Madam Director.
Nice to see you, Brian.
You've taken 10,000 pages. You found them in boxes. You put them online. What can you tell us? They say they caught you maybe by surprise, or we'll find the most interesting.
Well, Brian, first of all, this came about because President Trump promised the American people that his administration would be one of maximum transparency. And one of the first things that he did when he came back into the Oval Office was issue an executive order that said we need to release all the documents that we have unredacted on the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr. So we did the initial release of the previously never had been unredacted documents related to President Kennedy's assassination. And what we have just released here today is 10,000 pages that have been sitting in boxes within the National Archives that had never been digitized or viewed publicly before. These are documents related to the government's investigation into the assassination, documents related to discussions that were going on in other countries, State Department cables around the assassination, and a lot of the questions and theories that were being posed throughout this investigation that I think a lot of people, most people have never seen before. The significance of this is huge. It's been nearly 60 years since Senator Kennedy was assassinated. We're obviously not stopping here. We discovered 10,000 pages at National Archives. We sent people out to hunt through different warehouses at the FBI and CIA, knowing there are likely other documents that have not yet been turned over to National Archives. And I tell you, just the other day, we discovered over 50,000 additional pages solely around Senator Kennedy's assassination that we have over 100 people at National Archives going through and scanning, and that will be the second release that we'll have here shortly.
So second release, 50,000 National Archives footage reveals the first 10,000 pages available at archives.gov/RFK. She says we discovered another 50,000 pages specifically related. Here she is at the National Archives. Holy cow.
Senator Robert F. Today's a big day. It is the first time we are releasing. The country will be able to see the documents that have been sitting here at the National Archives and Records Agency around the assassination of Senator Robert F. Kennedy. Thanks to President Trump's leadership and his executive order mandating maximum transparency, we have had well over 100 people, some of whom you can see here, who have been working around the clock, going page by page, all to lead us to this day where the 10,000 pages that have been sitting here are now going to be available online at archives.gov/RFK.
So important, and this transparency is something that many Americans have been interested in, and so many Americans have been invested in the release of these files.
So today's release is 10,000 pages. Those are the ones that we had access to here. Just the other day, we discovered and found another 50,000 pages specifically related to the assassination of Senator Robert F. Kennedy. And so the work you're seeing happening here today is going to continue on as we have other teams going out and doing those searches and hunting for additional records that, once again, have not been found or released to the public ever before.
Well, we would love to look at some of these documents with you if you have time.
Yeah, absolutely.
This here is a file of the Department of Justice case file on Sirhan Sirhan, and it includes photographs and map of the Ambassador Hotel as they were conducting the investigation into the assassination. Over here we have records from the FBI Boston field office. The FBI gave the investigation the code name of Kensalt, and so part of this release includes some of those Kensalt investigative records, and I know that there are many more to come.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, this has really shined a light on the need for more of these types of releases to occur. People will find in the release today, there's no quote-unquote smoking gun, but there's a lot of interesting things that have not been previously known that really call into question what really happened and what was behind it. If you look on this memo alone, you see Kuwait, London, Tel Aviv, Beirut, Jeddah, Tunis, Benghazi, Baida, all of these American embassies who are the recipients of this cable. People are going to have to go to the website and read for themselves to kind of get an insight onto what the conversations are like before and after Senator Kennedy's assassination.
What was your takeaway when you saw some of these top lines?
There are more questions than answers. Was there more than one shooter? What was the angle of the shots that were fired? There was a woman who ran away from the scene where Senator Kennedy was shot, screaming, "We shot him, we shot him." There's so much more ultimately that I think needs to be declassified and digitized so that anybody can access this and know what the government knows. American taxpayers pay for this building. They deserve to know what's in it.
And you mentioned that you spoke with RFK Jr. about the release of these files. Is he aware of the developments with these and has interest in looking into these questions as well?
You know, he's obviously spent a lot of his life looking into what happened to his father. And so there's a lot of what's here that that he's already known or suspected. But, you know, when I asked him initially, I said, you know, do you want to review everything before it goes out, or do you have any concerns about the release? And his words were, you have to get it all out there. People need to see it. These are completely unredacted with the exception of what the law requires, which is, you know, social security numbers and other personally identifiable information. But I'm excited for us to be able to push this out and bring it out for the American people to see.
And let the sleuths do their thing.
So this is our specially protected holdings vault, where we store those records here at the National Archives that are most susceptible to theft or vandalism and that need to be protected and secured. Let's go ahead and start here at the end. Most of what we're showing you relates to the assassination of President Kennedy. This is Lee Harvey Oswald's passport that he carried when he defected to the Soviet Union. And this is also his passport application.
Is that a baby?
His daughter.
Oh my gosh.
You may be familiar with the Zapruder film. This is the Zapruder camera.
Looks heavy.
It is. Don't drop it.
Oh. But you guys are glad you don't have to use these kind of things.
So we have here, if you'd like to see it, we do have the shirt that Oswald had on when he was shot.
These significant moments in history, the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, of Senator Robert F. Kennedy, of Martin Luther King Jr., you know, a lot of this has been shrouded in mystery for most of our lifetimes. And so this transparency of being able to take these documents, scan them in, and make it so that people can read them with a click of a button is important. It's important to the country, and it's important in our continued search for the truth and building trust in our government.
Wow, that was an amazing piece by the Daily Wire. And now the official statement released today. Like the JFK files, RFK and MLK have not been digitized, set collecting dust in facilities across the federal government. RFK Jr. himself says lifting the veil on RFK papers is a necessary step. Here's the official statement, the official news release. Director Gabbard and Secretary Kennedy's statement on release of previously classified Senator RFK assassination records. After nearly 60 years, the American people can finally see the RFK assassination files. Unlike the JFK files, they had not been digitized and were collecting dust. Here is, you can see, they were identified and released in accordance with the law, President Trump's law. His executive order 14176 mandated maximum transparency, directing DNI Tulsi Gabbard to declassify her team, manually scanning over 10,000 pages. Check that out. At the president's directive. Bombshell documents expose Biden's classified plan to confront long-term contributors to domestic terrorism. Also calls for banning assault weapons and ghost guns. COVID-19 is excuse to target Americans labeled as domestic terrorists. This also, more bombshell being released. This was just 2 hours ago. We're finding out now. Rein in proliferation of ghost guns, encourage the static adoption of extreme risk protection orders, drive executive and legislative action, including banning assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. confront long-term contributors to domestic terrorism. Yeah, if you own a gun, that's how they believe. That's what they believe you are. The Biden administration caught red-handed. Secret domestic surveillance strategy had defined responsibilities that were hidden from the public, fusing federal databases to track American citizens. The same administration that called parents at school boards terrorists. America First Legal uncovering the truth. Biden administration had secret whole-of-government approach to censoring disfavored speech, labeling Americans as domestic terrorists for political dissent. The classified version described as crisp and clear. This is only the beginning. Tulsi says the file's completely unredacted except for personal information. RFK Jr. told her, you have to get it all out there. More releases coming soon. Unbelievable. Secretary Kennedy responding 6 hours ago, I'm grateful to President Trump and DNI Gabbard for lifting the veil on these documents. The assassination of JFK, RFK, and MLK were important crossroads that changed the trajectory. Changed the trajectory of our country from an idealistic and transparent democracy to a dark and secretive autocracy. The release of these documents is an important milestone in President Trump's crusade to restore America as an exemplary republic and a moral authority. History being made today. She posted this just 12 hours ago. Tulsi Gabbard, DNI. Nearly 60 years after the tragic assassination of Senator Robert F. Kennedy, the American people will, for the first time, have the opportunity to review the federal government's investigation thanks to President Trump's leadership and commitment to maximum transparency. So, the impending release of the RFK files isn't just about history, it's about accountability. When a government systematically buries evidence for 6 decades, when documents are intentionally left undigitized and hidden away, when witness testimonies are sealed from public view, we have to ask ourselves what kind of system we're really living under. DNI Gabbard has promised these files will be completely unredacted, except, of course, for personal contact information. RFK Jr. himself reportedly said, you have to get it out there, everything. This is not a selective release. This is not a sanitized summary. This is raw, unfiltered truth that multiple administrations fought to keep buried. And it raises the most important question of all. If they could hide the truth about an assassination for 60 years, what are they hiding from us right now, in real time? What other secrets are being kept from the American people under the guise of national security? And show your support for truth-seeking with our exclusive Next News gear, available now at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com, linked below. Beautiful. Just more history, more winning is happening. I can't even keep up with all of these. Miss Pothead Kenny became a member. R. Boyd gifting 5. Craig gifting 1. Anthony Fox gifting 1. Curio 23 doesn't like his autocorrect. I meant shirts, not shorts. What is, you want me to get zoot suit shorts? Keep rocking the show. Still need a zoot suit or Hawaiian shirt as the main shirt to your suits. Oh, I have plenty of Hawaiian shirts, believe me. Here's a live look at the White House as the sun is setting over the swamp on the East Coast. Live look right now at the beautiful White House. I'll be back there, not next week, but the week after. I am looking forward to my return. I can't wait. I'll be back on Sunday. I'm going to try to get you guys some footage of Donald Trump returning to the White House Sunday night. Maybe I'll produce a video there. Looking forward to that. I'll be there all week, all the way through Saturday, so I can get the Marine One departure, as he usually leaves on Friday, going back to Mar-a-Lago, hangs out in Florida, or he goes to Bedminster, depends, and then comes back on that Sunday. So we'll see how that all unfolds. I'll be there for you. Okay, let's go into the Oval Office, shall we? Yep, lots of news coming out of the Oval Office today, and we have the exclusive insight. Let's jump right into it, shall we? Something extraordinary happened in the Oval Office today, folks. President Trump was addressing the nation, discussing crucial issues from Medicare protections to the Russia-Ukraine war to falling gas prices. But when he began reading the biography of a certain Maryland man, a Salvadorian MS-13 gang member with an active deportation order who Senator Chris Van Hollen is now championing, MSNBC suddenly cut away mid-sentence. No explanation, no follow-up. What facts about Kilmar Abrego Garcia was the president revealing that were deemed too dangerous for American viewers to hear? Why would a major news network abruptly pull the plug precisely when crucial information was being presented? What does this tell you about media manipulation in America? Well, tonight we expose not just this calculated media blackout, but also the remarkable announcements being overshadowed, including Dr. Oz's swearing in as the Medicare and Medicaid administrator with a promise of no cuts in the president's statements on falling grocery and gas prices. What vital information is being deliberately hidden from you while they distract with manufactured controversies? Strap in. While MSNBC cuts away from President Trump's MS-13 truth bombs, the shocking health revelations also being ignored. Nearly half of all American adults have high blood pressure, yet only 25% have it under control. Just as the media censors uncomfortable facts, many Americans remain unaware of natural solutions for our health. This triple action formula contains white mulberry leaf, cinnamon bark powder, powerful nutrients that regulate blood pressure, balance blood sugar, and improve cholesterol profiles. It's been clinically proven to help reverse insulin resistance, a complete solution mainstream health narratives won't discuss. Get up to 40% off now at boostwithgary.com. You'll find it linked in the description. We thank our sponsors for supporting this program and for you for sharing it. Okay, President Trump introducing Dr. Oz prior to his swearing in as Administrator of Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Check this out. This was in the Oval Office just a few hours ago.
As Administrator, thank you very much, everybody. This is a very important day. It's a day that we're delighted to swear in Dr. Mehmet Oz as the next Administrator of the Centers for Medicine and Medicaid Services, which is a big deal. Congratulations to Dr. Oz and his beautiful wife, Lisa, and their friends and family on this really incredible achievement. Come a long way, huh? It's amazing. Dr. Oz comes to this position as one of the nation's most talented and beloved medical professionals. He graduated from Harvard University. Harvard. Well, how convenient. Should we talk about Harvard? Before obtaining his MD at the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine, a great one, and really some amazing education while also earning an MBA from the wonderful Wharton School of Business. He completed his medical residency at the world-renowned New York Presbyterian Columbia University Medical Center. Dr. Oz then had a sterling medical career in which he became an internationally acclaimed heart and lung surgeon, highly respected. He served as director of the Cardiovascular Institute and Integrative Medicine program at New York Presbyterian, and as a longtime professor at Columbia University's College of Physicians and Surgeons. Boy, oh boy. Doctor, I thought he just did a show. I only know the show. You know why I know the show? Because he said, I'm a little overweight. I should lose some weight. I did a show, and that's what I got out of it. That was not good. But I'm looking at all of this other. This is very impressive. Dr. Oz authored more than 400 contributions to academic and scientific publications and holds several patents for technologies that revolutionized cardiovascular surgery. And Dr. Oz later translated his experience into an extraordinarily successful television career, making him one of the most trusted voices on healthcare. And he also got very high ratings, I can tell you that. He did great with the television thing. As CMS Administrator, Dr. Oz will work tirelessly to strengthen and protect Medicare for our nation's seniors and Medicaid for the needy. Just as I promised, there will be no cuts. We're not going to have any cuts. We're going to have only help. Dr. Oz will work to improve the quality of care for decades to come, and he'll ensure that criminals, fraudsters, and illegal aliens are not permitted to rob America's seniors. They are trying, but they're not going to get away with it. He will also work alongside Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I've heard of him. He's a pretty famous guy. He's doing a great job, too, to address the crisis of chronic illness and to make America healthy again. So I want to just thank Dr. Oz, and because this is a big commitment he's making. He has a lot of options, and this is a big, big commitment. And I want to congratulate you and your family on really an amazing life. And I think this is going to be by far the most important part of an already incredible life. So thank you very much. God bless you, my friend. Thank you very much. Take care of yourself.
Nice. Here's Senator Kennedy swearing in Dr. Oz as the 17th Administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services.
Constitution of the United States. I, Mehmet Oz, do solemnly swear.
I, Mehmet Oz, do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation.
Without any mental reservation.
Or purpose of evasion.
Or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully.
And that I will well and faithfully.
Discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
Discharge the duties of the office upon I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God. God
Congratulations.
Thank you, brother.
History being made in the Oval Office today. And more history as well when the question and answer segment began. The president responding to questions about the Russia-Ukraine war.
Secretary Rubio said that the U.S. will have to figure out whether a deal can be done between Russia and Ukraine in a matter of days, or you will just move on.
Yeah, very short.
How many days is that?
No specific number of days, but quickly. We want to get it done. We're talking about here people dying. We're talking about over there people are dying also, like on average 2,500 young people, soldiers. They're not from America. They're not from anywhere else other than Ukraine and Russia. But we want to save these lives. So it's 2,500 a week are being killed in battle. It's a vicious battle with the best equipment, the best everything, and it is brutal. 2,500 young people a week. Some of them not so young, actually. They're getting older. They're getting older by the month. But 2,500 a week, and we're going to get it stopped ideally. Now, if for some reason one of the two parties makes it very difficult, we're just going to say you're foolish, you're fools, you're horrible people, and we're going to just take a pass. But hopefully we won't have to do that. And Marco is right in saying that we want to see it end. Think of it. Every day, a lot of people are being killed as we talk about, as they play games. So we're not going to take that, and we'll see. I think we have a good chance of solving the problem, however.
Are you prepared to walk away completely from these efforts and these talks?
Well, I don't want to say that, but we want to see it end.
Secretary Rubio said that the U.S. will have to figure out...
Now, there was a moment in the White House today that didn't get much coverage. I'm seeing if I can track it down here. I'm going to bring it up. Well, here's the moment when MSNBC cut away.
Separate judges affirmed in 2019 Garcia was issued a deportation order. Two separate judges affirmed Garcia was a member of MS-13, which is a gang that may be even worse.
We've been watching President Donald Trump there swearing in the new administrator of the CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, Dr. Mehmet Oz, during this conversation.
In 2019 Garcia was issued a deportation.
MSNBC cutting away, absolutely shameful. So President Trump, here is what you need to know. President Trump reading the biography of Chris Van Holten and the Democrat Party's favorite Maryland man.
Photos have emerged of Senator Van Hollen sipping what appears to be margaritas with Abrego Garcia down in El Salvador. Do you encourage other Democrats to fly down to El Salvador to meet with this illegal alien who's an accused wife beater?
I like this guy. See, now this is the kind of a reporter we like. There aren't enough of them. We got to get some more of them. But no, I appreciate that question. No, look, he's a fake. I know him. I know them all. They're all fake. And they have no interest in that prisoner. That prisoner's record is unbelievably bad. If you would go into the room, you might, if you would, Caroline, maybe go into the room and see if you can find that little slip. I wrote some things down. I don't know why you'd want to keep him, but I just, we got a little biography of him.
Did you help set up that?
Not a very innocent guy.
Did you help set up that
on the
meeting,
IRS?
Mr. President,
on
in the spirit of Easter Sunday and
While we're on the
Friday.
subject, right?
Yes, of course.
So you're talking about Abrego Garcia, is that the one? Yeah. Is an illegal alien MS-13 gang member and foreign terrorist. This comes out of the State Department and very legitimate sources. I mean, I assume I'm just giving you what they handed to me, but this was supposed to be certified stuff. In 2019, Garcia was issued a deportation order. 2 separate judges affirmed Garcia was a member of MS-13, which is a gang that may be even worse than Tren de Aragua. It may be worse. They kill people with knives because it's more painful. Very famous for the knifing and killing of 2 young 16-year-old girls walking to school one day, and they sliced them up into little pieces and killed them. That's MS-13. And 2 separate judges affirmed Garcia was a member of MS-13. When Garcia was originally arrested, he was wearing a sweatshirt with rolls of money pouring out, an MS-13 gang symbol that he was driving with 2 other known violent MS-13 gang members, 2 of the most violent members that we know of in the MS-13 gang of thugs. In 2022, Garcia was stopped by the Tennessee Highway Patrol and was found to be transporting 7 people from Texas to Maryland, and he had no driver's license. He was driving violently. In 2020 and 2021, Garcia's wife filed for a protective order from him and said he was violent and abusive and really scary, including allegations that he punched and scratched her on the eye, left her bleeding after throwing her laptop on the floor at her, ripped her shirt, and ripped off her shorts. He then grabbed her arm, leaving very severe marks. Garcia's wife also wrote in court, "At this point, I am afraid to be close to him. I just don't want to be close. I have multiple photos and videos how violent he can be and all of the bruises that he's left on me." She just couldn't get anywhere near him. This is the man that the Democrats are wanting us to fly back from El Salvador to be a happily ensconced member of the USA family. Isn't it a shame? And by the way, I've been hit pretty hard by fake shows, fake news, MSDNC in particular, where they talk about how evil I am, that this man would be thrown out of our country. This man is according to certified statements that we get, is a very violent person. And they want this man to be brought back into our country where he can be free and to stay as a happily Maryland, they call him the Maryland man. He's a Maryland father. No, this is a violent person. Who they don't talk about is that wonderful angel mom who lost her daughter, who had 5 beautiful children, and she was killed violently. And, she spoke, and she spoke unbelievably. I saw it. And the fake news didn't pick it up. She spoke. She was in tears. She's devastated. Her life is, essentially, she's told me her life is over. But there was I think no stories. Isn't that true? No stories.
Yes, sir.
0 stories. It was the most emotional thing. Everybody that watched it, they couldn't believe it. The fake news refused to put it up. So it's very sad. And yet they talk about this guy like he's an angel. See the angel up there? They think he's like that, like a little angel.
Do you encourge other Democrats to visit?
Would you be open to
It has
letting
no
Iran?
impact. The way she let it, no impact. It's just like unbalanced. Would you do that? Well, go ahead. What I was
Sir, on
photos of emergency.
And let's see, there was another moment here. Where is it? I thought it was here. I'll find it. My goodness. Almost there. Okay, here it is. This is during the swearing in of Dr. Oz. A young girl collapsed, was helped out. Media immediately ordered to leave the room. She did appear to recover quickly, but the live feed abruptly cut.
Your life
Who is leading
your
those
life
train
will be in
talks?
great danger.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
Mr. President.
Press out. Everybody out.
Press out.
Leave everything, guys. There you go.
You want to?
Yeah, we're gonna. You can help leave cables. Everybody help. Please move.
You leaving everything?
We'll drop it. Yeah, drop the cameras, please. We'll leave.
Your life.
Yeah, that's not something you see every day happen in the Oval Office. I got an email from the White House confirming that a minor family member fainted during the swearing-in ceremony in the Oval Office has now recovered, according to the officials. And you can see the reactions of everybody and the girl being walked out there. Quite a moment in the Oval Office today. Continuing here, let's see, we have more. Here are some of the Dr. Oz remarks.
Very much. God bless. I've got to start off by thanking three people. Mr. President, thank you very much. God bless you for leading our nation, but also courageously leading the MAHA movement, really earnestly in your heart wanting to get America to be healthy again, and for giving me an opportunity to help with that mission. Secretary Kennedy has been leading the charge at Health and Human Services. A dear friend, like a brother, has done unbelievably courageous work because he's curious and he's started answering a lot of important questions. And I will treasure for the rest of my days your trust in me to help you with this progress. Thank you. And of course, Lisa, the family, but Lisa in particular, who's had an uncanny ability to identify opportunities and to always keep a clear North Star to keep our family grounded. God bless you, my beautiful one. Let me start with a simple premise. Every great society, everyone, has an opportunity to take care of its most vulnerable and treasures that opportunity. And we're great people, so we will do the same. As we enter the main building, the Humphreys building, where Health and Human Services is located, there's a placard of Hubert Humphrey, and it says that it's a moral opportunity, a moral obligation of government to take care of people in the dawn of their life, the kids, in the twilight of their life, the elderly, the mature, the seniors, and those in the shadows of life, those struggling with disabilities. We want to provide America with access to great care. We want to save the public health insurance programs of this country. That's what President Trump asked me to do when he took this position to administer the programs at CMS. Now, if we're going to do that, we've got to be honest with each other. And a physician, President Trump, has to always do that, right? We've got to share news, sort of presidents, that folks don't want to hear, but it's important for our well-being. So I'm going to give you 4 bullet points to remember. Bullet point number 1, and they're all numbered in order for a reason. Medicaid is the #1 budget item for many states, and it is crowding out education, other important social programs. The states are having a big problem, and that's with the federal government paying most of the bill. Item number 2, healthcare expenditures are increasing at 2% higher than the economy is growing. And because of that, we spend more than 2 times per person on healthcare than any other country on the planet, and we're not getting value for that. Because number 3 is that we are, in America, experiencing an unfortunate problem, which is medical errors are the number 3 cause of death. Did you know that, Mr. President? It's surprising with that much money invested, we're still having problems. And number 4, our life expectancy, despite all this investment, is continuing to slip back. We're now more than 4 years shorter in our life expectancy than countries that we used to be equal to. But I am optimistic. Why? Because we control our destiny. Because at its very core, we have a generational opportunity, a unique ability to save the healthcare system because we control all the big pieces. America is too great for small dreams. So I've got some big ideas I'd like to share that we've worked through with my staff who are cordoned off over there, and there's a lot of us. We've got almost more than 6,000 people at CMS working on this and 40,000 contractors helping. So we've got a lot of people. What are we going to do? First, we're going to reduce chronic disease. How do you do that? 70% of the healthcare expenditures of this country are driven by chronic disease. And it is your patriotic duty, I'll say it again, the patriotic duty of all Americans to take care of themselves, because it's important for serving in the military, but it's also important because healthy people don't consume healthcare resources. The best way to reduce drug spending is to use less drugs because you don't need them because you're healthy. And it feels a lot better as well. The President and Secretary Kennedy have been pushing the MAHA agenda because it makes it easier for people to do the right thing, especially the mothers of this great land, because they're the ones who really get caught with this responsibility. They're the ones deciding for their kids. They're the ones we want to empower. And curiosity, which is the key word here, truly asking questions you want the answers to, will allow the MAHA movement to thrive. The next big thing we want to focus on is modernizing Medicare and Medicaid. That's how Americans will get the care that they want, need, and deserve. Need to empower patients and providers, both. The doctors and the patients both have to be equipped with better tools. And the President is showing that he actually does love and cherish Medicare with all these executive orders, like the one on transparency, sir, that really helps us by making sure people are equipped with information. So you shine a light in the dark shadows where so much of the problems happen with the healthcare system. And remember, the most expensive care is bad quality care. That's what we want to stamp on. And finally, we want to crush fraud, waste, and abuse. This is stunning to me. I've got a message for all the bad guys from me, the Secretary, and the President. We are going to stop people from stealing from our most vulnerable, from stealing with the taxpayers of America who are honestly trying to support these programs. And we're going to be able to do it in quite a few ways. We are coming for you. I'll give you a couple examples. Mr. President, these are ones that you may want to use in some of your future conversations. Almost 250,000 people, American citizens, were fraudulently enrolled without their knowledge in exchange programs by brokers who were unscrupulous, stealing from the U.S. government by pretending these people were on programs they never told them about. Tens of millions of dollars, Mr. President, are being spent on illegal immigrants receiving Medicaid in California, and they're pushing the bill to us. Should we stop that? I think so. That will not continue. We're spending about $1 billion on Medicaid programs for dual state eligible patients, which means you live in one state, but the system thinks you're another state, or maybe a third state, and we're paying all 3 states for services you're not getting because you don't live in 3 states all at once. And finally, and this is what really bothers me, there are states who are using Medicaid dollars for people who are vulnerable are being used for non-medical purposes. For example, public labor unions are getting child care through some of this money. That doesn't make sense to me. Housekeeping, I wish I could get that for my home. There's a big problem with student loan repayments taking place with Medicaid dollars. That's not where it should be used. And we are paying for DEI programs. I could go on, but these are all programs, Mr. President, that we have created a war room at CMS to go after, to catch the fraud in real time before the money leaves the federal coffers, so we have the money to reinvest in healthcare to make it even stronger than it's been before. Together, we're going to make the care better. We're going to make the outcomes improve, and we're going to make sure that America can actually be the healthiest country that could ever possibly be. We'll make America healthy again. God bless you both, sir.
Yeah, let's go, baby. Let's go. They've got a war room in the office now. Here's a president talking about gas prices.
I'll never forget. Prices are down. Groceries are down. Eggs, which you hit me so hard, I'll never forget. The first week in office, they were screaming at me about eggs. I said, "What's going on with eggs?" They were doubling and tripling. I said, "I just got here." They were up like double, triple, and you couldn't get any. They said, "You won't have eggs for Easter." Well, you can have all the eggs you want. I'll tell you, Brooke Rollins, Secretary of Agriculture, did a great job. And the egg prices are down 87%. But nobody talks about that. You can have all the eggs you want. We have too many eggs. In fact, if anything, the prices are getting too low.
Mr. President,
so I just want to let you know, prices are down. Gasoline yesterday in 3 states hit $1.98 a gallon. And it looks like it's at a level that it hasn't seen since my days, my 4 years. So it's about $2 I'd say maybe, I think we're going to be averaging $2.25 very soon. So I just want to let you know, though, because I keep hearing about prices and inflation. Prices are coming down, not going up. Only the fake news says they're going up. The only thing that's even are interest rates. And if we had a Fed chairman that understood what he was doing, interest rates would be coming down too. He should bring them down. Yeah, prices.
Taking a shot at the Federal Reserve right there. And he was asked a question about a group of Venezuelan men in Texas who've been alerted that they're going to be deported.
And there's a group of Venezuelan men down in Texas who have been alerted that they are soon going to be deported under the Alien Enemies Act. Have you authorized that operation, and where are they going to go?
I don't know about the group you're talking about, but if they're bad people, I would certainly authorize it, yeah. You know, I won an election in a landslide. We won all 7 swing states. We won by millions of votes. We won 2,750 districts to 505 districts. 2,750 to 505. That's why the map, when you look at it, is all red. And one of the biggest reason, I think the biggest single reason, actually, I'd like to say it's because of this, because I think they're going to come up with things that are incredible. But probably the biggest reason was because of the border and because of illegal immigration. And the people of this country want those people out. Because what Biden did, and I don't know if he did it, I'm not even sure he knows what the hell he was doing, but what his people did, representing him, was allow millions and millions of people from jails, from prisons all over the world, people from mental institutions and insane asylums, gang members, drug dealers, pouring into our place. And you know what? Our people voted for me to get them out. They want them out. They want them out. And we've done a hell of a job. And by the way, Ecuador and various places, but El Salvador, we've been helped by a lot of other states where they're helping us, actually. Because you couldn't, look, what this man was thinking when they allowed open borders and people to come in, if you look at Venezuela, their crime is down by 72%. You know why? They took all their criminals off the street. They took all their prisoners from jail. They took murders. 11,088 murderers were released into our country. Bad things are going to happen. Bad things. And we're getting them out. And that's why I was elected. A judge wasn't elected to do that. I was elected to do that. And we're doing it in record fashion.
So what happened in the Oval Office today wasn't just a technical glitch or an editorial decision. It was information control in its most blatant form. Of course, we had to bring you the full remarks because the fake news wouldn't. When the President of the United States is literally cut off mid-sentence for discussing facts about a violent gang member who's now being championed by mainstream media, we've crossed into very dangerous territory. The White House press secretary called it exactly what it is, fake news. Meanwhile, the real news was being buried, that Dr. Oz is taking over CMS with a mandate to protect Medicare, that gas prices have fallen to $1.98 in some states, and that grocery prices are coming down, not going up. They've rebranded this MS-13 member as a sympathetic Maryland man, while silencing the president's warnings about the national security implications. So here's the pressing question every American should be asking tonight, and you can answer in the comments. If they're willing to censor the President of the United States in real time on matters of public safety, what other crucial information are they keeping from you every single day? Show the world you can't be silenced with Next News gear, now available at the shop.nextnewsnetwork link in the description. All right. Let's see. Miss Pothead Kenny is a member. Our Boyd gifting 5. Craig gifting 1. Andy Fox gifting 1. And Pothead Kenny becoming a member. What? I thought you were a member. That's so weird. Okay. That's cool. All right. Moving on. Got more news to get into tonight on Friday night on the Raw feed. You're watching live on the Next News Network. What have we got for you? Tom B420 gifting out 5 Next News Network memberships. Okay. do we have a thread on this? This is all... Wow, cool. Dude, I love Ashton Forbes. Good stuff. Okay, so we don't have a thread. This is... Okay. What if everything you've been told about energy was a carefully constructed lie? What if the technology for unlimited clean power has existed for decades but was deliberately suppressed? And why did a White House technology director, Michael Kratsios, suddenly confirm what researchers have claimed for years about the government intentionally halting certain technological advances? And what is zero-point energy? And why are insiders from Elon Musk to RFK Jr. suddenly hinting at suppressed energy systems that could reshape everything from defense to space travel? Why are internet researchers connecting ancient physics principles to quantum entanglement and hidden modern tech? Well, tonight we dive into what might be the most consequential cover-up in human history, a technology that could offer limitless power, instantaneous travel, and complete independence from fossil fuels and globalist energy control. The silence is breaking, and the implication for humanity's future are staggering. And tonight, you will learn. While advanced energy technologies remain suppressed, Americans need practical solutions right now. As zero-point energy research stays hidden in classified programs, this portable mini heater delivers immediate warmth without the wait for breakthrough tech. This compact device heats any room in minutes without wasteful energy bills. The kind of practical efficiency hidden science should be delivering to Americans. Built with advanced safety features and whisper-quiet operation, it's perfect for those cool mornings when central heating costs too much. Get yours at StayWarmNow.com with up to 60% off during their spring clearance, plus free shipping and bonus gifts. Now, one of my favorite follows on YouTube and X is a man who has graced this program on a number of occasions. He is one of the foremost researchers of what happened to flight MH370, Malaysian Airlines flight that disappeared. But his research goes deeper. The information that he has been able to disclose about zero-point energy is absolutely fascinating. And I want to share some of the posts that we've uncovered today that are going to help move the ball down the court so that we can actually harness these energies for ourselves. Now, back in October of 24, Ashton Forbes posted this. He said that he called free energy a national security issue. This is what he said. Lou Elizondo revealed the truth, that zero-point energy has been kept hidden because the gatekeepers believe we will destroy ourselves. Quote, this technology has the chance to either bring us together or completely rip us apart once and for all. Now here's the video he attached with the post.
More than the destructive force? Do you think it's the power unlock more than the destructive force?
I think I'll save that when I'm not mic'd up.
Yeah, no worries.
Think of mass and energy as the same thing.
So you need to get Planck scale energy or something.
A common theme here is we keep talking about the term national security. And I know you're here to interview me, but let me interview you just for a moment, if I may, if you'll indulge me. How do we, this is a sandbox here, right? Let's say there's a technology now, there's a toy that there's 12 kids in the sandbox, but there's only one toy, right? This toy has the ability to let everybody play together and be nice. The problem is human nature is such that most kids, most governments in this case, using it as an analogy, are going to want that toy for themselves. How do we share the toy? How do we use this? Because we know there's countries out there that if they had a certain type of technology, they would probably employ it very quickly to their advantage. So countries will use technology if they feel that they have to in a time of conflict. The world is on fire. Doesn't matter what side of the argument you're on. I think we can all agree that the world is a very dangerous and violent place right now. right? This technology has the chance to either bring us together or completely rip us apart once and for all, right? Like there's no coming back. How do you solve that problem? Who's going to take the moral high road and say, I give to you this technology and you shall use it for peaceful means? Who is that? The United Nations?
I think it's
Is it society writ large?
It's like the three-body problem. They know we're going to blow ourselves up, so they clamp down on the science, and they're responsible for a lot of the productive science.
Would humanity be okay with an overlord, an NHI babysitter? Is that freedom? Are you really free then if an NHI were to come down and say, okay, folks, this is a reality, ha ha ha, we've been kind of playing with you a little bit, but here's reality, you're all going to play well with each other, you're all going to be able to enjoy this free energy and whatnot, but you're going to play by our rules. Now what happens? Now what happens to free will?
Do you think what does happen? Here is the moment. Gerard Winter had this take. He says this means disclosure of zero-point energy and electrogravitic propulsion is likely coming soon. These are technologies derived from reverse engineering UFOs, and a lot of heads are about to explode, linking directly to the White House. Here is Michael Kratsios.
First, our passenger planes are slower than they used to be. Our trains crawl compared to those in other parts of the world. Our cars do not fly. Advances have not stopped, but something has gone wrong. Stagnation was a choice. We have weighed down our builders and innovators. The well-intentioned regulatory regime of the 1970s became an ever-tightening ratchet, first hampering America's ability to become a net energy exporter and then making it harder and harder to build. We seem to have lost focus and vision, to have lowered our sights and let systems and structures and bureaucracies muddle us along. But we are capable of so much more. Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. They leave distance annihilated, cause things to grow and improve productivity. Our passenger planes
manipulate time and space. Is zero-point energy on the horizon? Well, here's a discussion. The use of torus fields, plasma, and the ether are some of the fundamentals of zero-point energy, free energy, and over-unity systems. Let's go down the rabbit hole.
Like this. Think of it. Different people have different devices. Of the ones that have promise, there's certain themes that keep re-emerging. The first theme is torsion physics. Torsion physics is a fancy way of saying something that spins like this and something that spins like this. Think of it as like an hourglass shape. I think that it has to do with it representing the way energy moves in the universe. At the biggest levels, like the galaxy, it's a spiral. A tornado on Earth is this vortex motion. Our DNA is a stranded spiral. A second theme is plasma. A lightning bolt is plasma, right? The spark gap in a car is plasma. So plasma is the fourth state of matter. Solid water is ice. Add more energy, it melts and becomes water. Add more energy, it becomes steam. And then if you were to add even more energy, say through running an electric current through that steam or through any gas, you end up with plasma. You can think of it as maybe this liminal state or in-between state between the physical world and the non-physical world, whatever that is. There's some evidence emerging that plasma can provide a shielding of inertia. So if you imagine that you're a UFO and you need to zip around at crazy speeds, you can't pump the brakes too fast, otherwise everyone's going to slam into the windshield, right? But if you had some sort of inertial shield around the craft, i.e. like a plasma shield, you might be able to eliminate the inertia surrounding that and keep the occupants safe. I think this is why the UFOs seem to glow. Plasma glows. A third theme is that of the ether. The conventional or mainstream understanding of the base level of reality is maybe the quantum sea, tiniest particles all bumping into each other. The ether conceives of this differently. It says that there's a kind of a fluid geometry that is the base layer of physical reality, and that to understand that fluid geometry is to be able to really understand electricity, magnetism, and gravity. And this, according to Tesla and others, is the key to really understanding what he was getting at with all of his wireless transmission of energy stuff. But I believe that we're going to see something like a return of the ether. It won't be called that, but it'll be something like that that's going to enable us to make much more progress in these areas in the coming century.
And this is where we're headed. I certainly hope so. Shane Stumbo saying, I expected more from the Disclosure Task Force. Michael Crescio's press briefing exposed how the government has intentionally stagnated technological advancement in order to keep scientific discoveries secret, like ZPE, plasma tech, and the manipulation of time and space. Ashton Forbes in November of last year, UFOs exist, aliens are out there somewhere. Let's move the conversation forward. Let's talk about zero-point energy. Imagine how instantaneous travel would change our planet, or free energy. These technologies exist. Tucker Carlson says he thinks disclosure is very disruptive. Let's take a look at his clip from Redacted.
Instantaneous travel. You had this hearing, of course, the other day, and we're past the point. Yes, aliens exist, whatever. We have reverse engineered their craft. We have these materials. We know this now. That's on the congressional record. We have this stuff. Like, let's move the conversation beyond that. I want to ask you about zero-point energy and these technologies that I think this government has in their possession. I think it's verifiable that instantaneous travel. I think it's one of the greatest cover-ups in human history that we don't have access to this technology. Are you hopeful at all that these members of Congress, Nancy Mace and others, are going to be able to, Timber Shed and others, are going to be able to pull this out of these deep programs and release it? Like, what's your when you're in the smoky-filled rooms, what are you hearing about this?
Well, no, I'm not at all hopeful. Hopeful. I'm not at all confident. One of the members, I don't want to betray secrets, but and I think this is correct, the members of Congress you just mentioned, I won't say which, pushed hard on the UAP Disclosure Act of 2022, which has never kind of been enacted. And as a result was primaried by his own party, which is, the kind of maximum punishment in electoral politics. So there is a massive, we cannot overstate the effort in place to prevent disclosure. And the question really is why? And so, these technologies clearly exist. It's not clear to me who possesses them. I'm pretty sure no one's profiting off of them. So, you can construct all kinds of explanations for why. But, everyone I've known, which is every president who's been really read into this stuff, is unwilling to disclose what he learned. And you have to ask, why is that? So I think the truth is, and I haven't gotten to the truth, but I've gotten close enough that I'm like, ooh. I think it's very, very disruptive, way disruptive. It's not just that Lockheed is making a lot of money on anti-gravity technology, or, we've been visited by people from their planet or whatever. I think there's more there. There is more there. So, and I'm not, exactly sure. I'm not going to speculate, but I think it's a big deal. I think it's a bigger deal than we often allow for it being.
You had this.
And we're going to continue going down the free energy rabbit hole, something I love. Stanley Meyer, also another one. Continuous resonant acoustic wave chamber can resist gravity. Take a look at this. Now, I'll spare you the sound, but you can hear the sound wave kicking in. And these items apparently floating in the sound wave itself. More examples, different items, a styrofoam cup, a ball, spinning the ball. Resonant acoustic wave chamber. This is back in 1987. Here is another video of apparent 0-point energy.
Variation 1 from Applied Electrophysics, all you YouTubers out there. Featured Variation 1 flying in Tesla Days, Rittenhouse Square, Philadelphia, PA. That's flying with Applied Electrophysics, battery power supply, Alpha. That supplies all high voltage you need to start experimenting with electrophysics. And the new field of space travel that we're entering, we will have UFOs that will fly us to any planet in very short time with no mass dilation, no time dilation. This is the future, folks. This is your future that's been provided to us by Thomas Townsend Brown and Nikola Tesla. This is without inertia, without G-forces. Much faster than any rocket. No fuel, no pollution. This is green technology. And of course, green technology is being supported now by our current administration in Washington. They're subsidizing it.
And continuing the look here, Daniel Soda posting this, April 10th, looks like the USA is ahead based on this article compared to 2019. Didn't Trump say we'd dominate energy? Hopefully people will watch the whole video. It's good. 0-point energy will be released.
That was the power of space can do what Reagan was doing, and the physics just didn't quite close. Brilliant Pebbles was the program to put a space base layer that could see and kill any missile launched the moment we knew it was launched in a direction that was nefarious to American values. And it could be shot down before it even left the geographic boundaries of whichever place it was launched. You can build that off the shelf today, and we have not, and China is. So the power...
Continuing. Here is Ashton Forbes. To physics academics, we don't need new physics, we just need a new perspective on old. Space is not actually empty. The ether, or 0-point energy, is a solution to the three-body problem: dark energy, dark matter, and mass inertia, and gravity. Let's see what he's posted here.
And he said that we already know, and a lot of other physicists know, that Einstein proved that gravity is not a fundamental force of nature. It emerges from the fabric of space-time when it's distorted or curved or bent. And Sakharov, he believed that the metric elasticity of space described by the space-time metric, which is just a very simple equation actually, and he said that should come from the quantum vacuum fluctuations, because he sees the quantum vacuum fluctuations as being the seed of all existence. And he was right. Basically, that started from Richard Feynman when he got the Nobel Prize for the quantum electrodynamics theory. Gravity is not a force of nature. It emerges from space-time phenomenon, the space-time manifold, or the continuum, or however you want to describe it. And it's a coupling constant measures the strength of the interaction force between particles. The coupling constant in general relativity is the universal gravitational constant times 8 pi divided by the speed of light to the 4th power. You know what the units of that are? 1 over force. 1 over newtons.
That's right.
And that's a coupling constant to convert the dimensional units of the stress energy tensor, which is the source of space-time curvature. That's in units of joules per cubic meter, or energy density, or pressure, because the equivalent is newtons per square meter. That we already know, and a lot of other physicists know, that Einstein proved that gravity is not a fundamental force of nature. It's
okay. Yeah, I'm trying to digest this all too. Here is Ashton Forbes 24 hours ago posting a Tim Pool clip saying he cooked. It's wild to watch major podcasters wake up like this in real time. He's right. 0-point energy is harvesting quantum energy. Thus, it's not violating the laws of thermodynamics. This discovery has been kept from us for decades.
If the things the U.S. government has been working on would shock the average person. So I wonder, is it possible that people think we are stagnant and that people feel dejected when it comes to technological advancement because it's being kept under wraps? Could the world withstand the developments that we've encountered? Think about this with 0-point energy. If we really were able to harness a source of free energy, what would that do to the global economy? And many people have argued this, that when it comes to free energy, perpetual motion, or otherwise, not that I believe perpetual motion exists, but that perceivably it may, because energy can be extracted from systems which seemingly are imperceptible. That is, it's possible to create a machine that you place outside and it starts to just go and spin forever. And they'd argue that's perpetual motion. It's not. It could simply be that it's absorbing solar energy and utilizing that energy to create motion. But you would not be able to capture that energy effectively, maybe a little bit. It looks like it's perpetual motion, but it's not. Meaning we could perhaps capture quantum energy in ways not yet perceived by the average person nor disclosed by universities or government, and that would give us seemingly infinite energy. Energy conversion, rapid, easy to build.
And Ashton Forbes, he was quote tweeting himself on this. It surprises me that Timcast knows faster than light communications exist, but not wormholes. They're the same thing. ER equals EPR, quantum entanglement, distance is an illusion.
And I've got people, so as it pertains to technology, I can disclose something right now that I probably shouldn't. Faster than light communications are being worked on right now. And I've got people tweeting at me, because I tweeted this the other day. When this disclosure dropped, I tweeted this. Faster than light communications are being developed. What they're using is quantum entanglement. As it was described to me by people who told me not to repeat this, granted, this was a couple years ago. The idea that's being developed is that through quantum entanglement, they say that you can entangle two particles, and whatever you do to one happens to the other.
Yep.
This means that there are means of conveying information over over infinite spaces, which would be faster than light. So as it pertains to technology.
So what we're witnessing isn't just another conspiracy theory. It's a systematic unveiling of what might be the most significant scientific suppression in modern history. For decades, researchers who talked about zero-point energy, anti-gravity tech, or instantaneous communication were ridiculed, silenced, or worse. But now the walls are crumbling. Patents exist, leaked documents exist, testimonies exist, and suddenly mainstream voices are starting to ask uncomfortable questions. If faster-than-light communication is possible, what else is real? If gravity can be manipulated through resonant acoustic wave chambers, who has this technology now? And most importantly, who decided that humanity wasn't ready for energy abundance, and what gave them the right to make that choice for all of us? This isn't about fringe science anymore. It's about control over humanity's future, about who gets to determine our technological evolution. And even the White House is talking about it. So the essential question we all need to ask tonight, is unlimited clean energy being withheld to maintain power structures that depend on scarcity and dependence? Drop a comment below. And show your support for disclosure with your Next News gear, available at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Yeah, that was heavy, Doc. That was heavy. Another round, please. Okay. Crypto King Freddy dropping $5. Wubba, Lubba, Dub Dub, I'm Pickle Rick. Love your stream, bro. Daily Watcher. Thank you. Curio23 pointing out that the floating triangle is the Browning effect. There's a joke there, I'm sure. Curio23, I'll have to look that up about the Browning effect. Okay, let's keep going. More news to dive into on the DOGE front. Shall we? I think we shall. Something unprecedented is happening across America right now, from California to Michigan, from courtrooms to state capitals. The establishment's in full-blown panic mode. What exactly is President Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, nicknamed DOGE, doing that has powerful interests so terrified? Why is Governor Gavin Newsom suddenly filing lawsuits to protect the AmeriCorps program? And what are these community organizations so desperate to maintain, and why are they collapsing without taxpayer funding? Why are Michigan Democrats staging emotional testimonials from federal workers claiming the sky will fall if bureaucracy is cut? And most tellingly, why is an activist judge in Baltimore blocking access to Social Security data that could streamline the system and eliminate waste? Well, tonight we expose the coordinated meltdown happening across the political establishment as the administrative state faces its greatest existential threat in modern history. When the swamp screams this loudly, you know Trump is right over the target. And as Trump's efficiency department fights government waste, Americans face skyrocketing energy bills with no relief in sight. While bureaucrats protect their bloated budgets, this revolutionary device helps slash your energy costs. It works by stabilizing electrical currents, by reducing dirty electricity, bringing your efficiency to your home that Washington elites try to deny the country. Tens of thousands have already installed this simple plug-in solution with countless 5-star reviews confirming dramatic savings. Order now to receive 65% off fast shipping and a 60-day guarantee. Visit don'twastepower.com before supplies run out and stop paying the power companies inflated rates. Linked below. All right, Patriots, the deep state's in full panic mode. President Trump's Department of Government Efficiency slashing bloated bureaucracy, swamp creatures screaming as taxpayer-funded gravy train derails. The establishment will do anything to stop Trump from draining the swamp. Yes, Gavin Newsom is panicking as Trump downsizes the federal agencies. Thousands of so-called volunteers cut from bloated AmeriCorps program that funneled millions of your tax dollars to leftist organizations. California desperately trying to recreate the program at the state level.
Part of an ongoing... New at 11, Governor Newsom says California is filing yet another lawsuit against the Trump administration, this time over DOGE's dismantling of the AmeriCorps service program. Thousands of the volunteers who respond to disasters and help with community projects were laid off this week. It's part of an ongoing effort to downsize federal agencies. Governor Newsom says his administration will accelerate recruitment of the California Service Corps program to make up for the cuts.
Okay, Gavin, sure. Keep crying and we'll keep laughing. Unhinged activists melting down as the Trump efficiency cuts target their funding. We're not going anywhere, they scream while demanding hands off government money. Listen.
Friend, Kelly Robinson.
Michigan Democrats staging propaganda shows with former federal workers using emotional manipulation to attack Trump's efficiency efforts, claiming weather won't be monitored and children will die if we cut bureaucracy. Here's CBS News.
Yeah, straight from the people.
Michiganders who've been caught up in the Trump administration's slashing of the federal government told their stories today.
Michigan lawmakers are learning how the DOGE job cuts are hurting the area, straight from the people who are actually looking for work.
CBS News Detroit's Jack Springate listened into the special hearing at the Capitol, and he joins us now in studio to unveil some of the negative impacts that are already happening. Jack, what did you hear today?
Well, these workers not only painted a picture of how their lives have been turned upside down by these federal layoffs, but also how these firings have already led to death and destruction in our state. Nicole Rice says we won't be able to prepare for serious weather like the ice storms in northern Michigan and monitor future concerns like industry-threatening algae blooms with a void left behind by thousands of laid-off workers like her at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
Its loss would be an enormous blow to drinking water safety, climate resilience, maritime safety, invasive species control, and international treaty compliance with Canada.
Leslie Desmond says Tatiana Williams would have gotten the help she needed to save her 2 children who died from carbon monoxide poisoning while parked in a casino parking lot had these job cuts not created chaos in the Department of Housing and Urban Planning, where she's currently on indefinite leave.
Their mother had called and had asked for emergency relief, had went through the right channels looking for help. But because of chaotic government cuts and of inefficiencies, we failed them.
We covered the layoffs to VA employees in Ann Arbor as they happened in February. While many of them have been reinstated, mostly by legal pressure, Andrew Lennox is still bracing that each day could be his last. He shared an interaction with a fellow employee the first time he learned about these layoffs.
When I determined my
government laptop, our IT guy shook his head and he said, man, I'm sorry, I voted for this, but I didn't think it'd affect people like you.
Now, Democratic and Republican lawmakers both heard these accounts today. They'll be using these stories to find ways to fill the gaps left behind by these federal workers, whether that be creating state-funded positions or a new strategy that's yet to be seen. I'll be back at 6, but for now, I'll send it back to you two at the desk.
And they can always learn to code, though, right? An activist judge in Baltimore blocking efficiency reforms in Social Security, claiming Trump's team needs to explain why they need access to the very data necessary to streamline the system.
At least for now. Elon Musk's access to Social Security systems through his Department of Government Efficiency remains limited, at least for now. A district court judge issued a preliminary injunction that extends previous restrictions on DOGE's access to Social Security data. The judge said the Trump administration hasn't made clear why it needs unfettered access to the private data. The injunction sets the stage for the case to be appealed. Elon.
Keep appealing. And we got some more media propaganda working overtime, showcasing Pine Island AmeriCorps workers sent home while ignoring the millions wasted on this program yearly. And notice, watch, they only interview people upset about the cuts.
And Ian, AmeriCorps provides disaster relief around the country. But this week, DOGE cut their funding. I'm Pine Island community correspondent Bella Line, and for months they've been out on Pine Island helping with the recovery relief from Helene, Milton, and Ian. Well, now it's up to people who live on the island to finish those projects.
Work continues to rebuild here on Pine Island, but with less manpower.
They can help and do a lot of the so-called grunt work.
Eric Whiteman, a volunteer with the Greater Pine Island Alliance, told me that for a couple of months, a group of AmeriCorps volunteers from around the country were on Pine Island to help rebuild. Until
Tuesday, early, we're having a dinner. By Tuesday afternoon, they're being sent home. Wednesday, they were gone.
the Department of Government Efficiency, which has been working to get rid of government waste, completely cut AmeriCorps' funding. According to the Associated Press, AmeriCorps volunteers have served 8 million service hours since 1999. Much of that service was for natural disaster recovery. Just last week, I was out on Pine Island with an AmeriCorps group. Thursday, I spoke with 2 AmeriCorps volunteers who were on their way back to Iowa. They said they didn't want to give their names.
It almost felt like a rug was pulled from under us.
They say they were shocked at how quickly their work was stopped.
We decided to put our lives on hold for 11 months to strengthen American communities.
One volunteer told me they might...
Oh, wait, I've got a great idea. How about you take your life off hold and go back to your life? Okay? Let the people figure out the solutions. Maybe actually, like, people will go to work and maybe people get paid. Maybe the economy will strengthen because you got contractors out there doing the work. Wow. What an idea.
Have to go to a shelter until they figure out what to do next.
As much as we're thinking about where we're going to go and what we're going to do, it was really disheartening to not be able to finish that.
Now projects like this house are left for island volunteers to pick up.
So it's kind of put us in that quandary of how to finish these jobs so that these survivors can get back to normal living.
Reporting on Pine Island.
How to finish the jobs. Oh, man. This is the battle we've been waiting for. The entire swamp, Democrat governors, activist judges, federal bureaucrats, mainstream media, all united to stop Trump from cutting wasteful spending. When they scream this loud, you know he is over the target. Michelle Maxwell posting this. She's saying, thank God for DOGE.
It's because of the information that's coming out of the Department of Government Efficiency. Today, Elon Musk and DOGE released the information that there are now over 160,000 federal employees that they think are millionaires. When Joe Biden got into office in 2021, there were only about 70,000. But in just 4 years' time, that number more than doubled. They said by September of 2024, there were 155,334 millionaires, more than double millionaires in 4 years.
That's amazing. This is Misty J. Baker. And Misty, would you maybe just tilt the camera down a little bit and, work on the captioning? I mean, from a production standpoint, I think you could do a little bit better. I appreciate what you're saying, but I mean, come on.
And then by now they're assuming or estimating it to be about 160,000 millionaires. As a taxpayer, I want to know how it happened and why did it happen. The average salary for a federal employee is only $86,000. How do you take $86,000 and then all of a sudden you become a millionaire? And that many people to become millionaires, do you know how odd that is and how almost impossible that is? The highest paid people in the federal government are people that work in what they call the medical officers. And those people only make about over 200,000. So you're talking about the medical offices and then people in cybersecurity. They all average about $250,000 or $260,000 a year. But now, in just a 4-year period of time, we are supposed to believe that they had an extra, over 70,000, 80,000, people that became millionaires that work for the federal government.
That's crazy. Here's Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene 24 hours ago. There's nothing more important we can do for you as Americans to protect your Social Security.
Sarah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Why is MTG supporting Musk and DOGE and the slashing of Medicaid, Social Security offices, libraries, and more? This is outrageous from Sarah. Well, Sarah, unfortunately, you're being brainwashed by the news that you're watching. And, you know, a lot of Democrats pride themselves on being educated, and I suggest they educate themselves better. Because I showed you a video in the beginning. I wish you could have seen the whole clip of Barack Obama literally talking about what we would call today DOGE. And so, Sarah, if you supported Barack Obama as your president, which I'm sure you did, then I'm sure you support Elon Musk and DOGE as well. Now, as far as Medicaid, Social Security, libraries, and more, what we're doing is we're removing waste, fraud, and abuse, and there's nothing more important we can do for you as Americans to protect your Social Security than get rid of the criminals that are stealing it. We have to make sure that we protect Social Security. We're not cutting Social Security. We're not cutting Medicare. This was a promise from President Trump and Republicans like myself on the campaign trail, and we will live up to that promise, and no one has lost their benefits. Okay.
Yeah, despite what the media will have you believe, right? President Trump, acting commissioner, is out at the IRS just 2 days after his appointment was announced. NBC News confirms Gary Shapley, acting commissioner of the IRS, is being replaced after Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent approached Trump to say he was appointed without his knowledge at Elon Musk's direction. Nicole Perlroth, I don't care what your politics are. Every American needs to read this entire thread. DOGE went in, data came out, Russians started logging in with valid DOGE passwords in 15 minutes. Either Russia had access to DOGE devices or someone gave them access. A federal whistleblower dropping one of the most disturbing cyber security disclosures ever read. The media coverage wasn't detailed enough, so we dug into the testimony. Who's the whistleblower? Daniel Barulis, a senior DevSecOps architect, National Labor Relations Board, formerly TS-SCI clearance, told Congress the Department of Government officially pulled off a covert cyber op inside a federal agency. DOGE demanded root access, not auditor, not admin. They were given tenant owner privileges in Azure, full control over the NLB cloud, over the CIO himself. This is not supposed to happen. They disabled logs, says DOGE demanded account creation with no record keeping, even ordered security controls, bypass and disabled tools like Network Watcher so the actions would not be logged. And then data started flowing out. 10 gigabyte spike in outbound traffic. Exfiltration, next gen NLRB legal case database, no corresponding inbound, unusual ephemeral containers, and expired storage tokens. Wow. Not sure what that's about. We're going to have to find out even more. But we do have this from a judge blocking DOGE from Social Security data access. A federal judge hitting pause 14 hours ago stopping it from accessing Social Security data to fight fraud because apparently fixing government is just too efficient. DOGE now has to delete non-anonymized data and undo smart code upgrades and jump through bureaucratic hoops to even glance at redacted records because DOGE dared to modernize how fraud is caught. Busy night for the courts. Late last night, a federal judge issued a preliminary injunction barring DOGE's access to Social Security data. So what we're witnessing is not just budget reform, it's a fundamental battle for America's future. For decades, the administrative state has operated with virtually no accountability, growing larger, more powerful, and more disconnected from the will of the people. Now, as DOGE begins methodically streamlining government, every stakeholder in the bloated system's fighting back with everything they have. The media shows tearful AmeriCorps workers, but never questions the program's effectiveness. Judges blocking access to the very data needed to improve services. Governors creating state-level programs to maintain control even as federal funding disappears. And DOGE digging deeper and deeper with root access into the systems to purge it, and they're screaming about it. So the pattern's unmistakable and revealing. This isn't about essential services or vulnerable communities. It's about power and control and a bureaucratic machine desperate to preserve itself at all costs. So here's the critical question every taxpaying American should be asking tonight, and you can weigh in the comments. If these programs truly help people, why do they collapse the moment government funding stops? And if they need constant funding to survive, are they actually sustainable solutions or just permanent dependencies? I can't wait to see your reaction. And show your support for government efficiency with our MAGA Avengers collection at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com featuring Elon Musk and Ron Paul, linked below. Wow. Okay. What have we got here? Oh, do you hear what's going on in Canada? Mm-hmm. Okay, Brian, you can reset that. What are you guys saying in the chat room? Big D Trump. They demanded full access. They disabled the network logging tools. They can't see what they're doing, and suddenly a ton of outbound network traffic, so they were uploading it to somewhere. Interesting. DOGE may have a traitor inside. That's possible, too. Keep up the great work, Gary. America loves truthful commentary on your channel. Raw feed. Wisdom Rising. Thank you. Okay, Brian, let's rock. A silent economic war is being waged against our neighbors to the north, and it has global implications for us all. What is the massive carbon tax agenda being rolled out across Canada that's crushing ordinary families? Why are liberal candidates caught on camera admitting that they're not scrapping the tax, just applying it differently because it's unpalatable to voters? How has the scheme pushed half of Canada's population to the brink of financial insolvency? And why are food banks overwhelmed while Mark Carney refuses to answer basic questions about costs? What's behind the shocking revelation that a liberal ban on plastic food packaging is expected to raise grocery prices by 34%? While reducing shelf life by 87%? And most disturbing of all, why are armed police with automatic rifles being deployed not to protect citizens, but to guard the carbon tax against peaceful protesters? And why is this channel being blocked in Canada? Well, tonight we expose what may be the most aggressive wealth transfer scheme in modern history, sold as climate policy, but functioning as economic tyranny. The implications for America's energy independence and your personal freedom are profound. While globalists push carbon tax that crush families, they're hiding something else affecting men daily. Most guys believe their testosterone's dropping due to age or genetics, but the real culprit's something that you're eating that's falsely labeled as healthy. This one food, it devastates testosterone levels, draining energy and destroying motivation. It is not sugar or junk food. It's far more unexpected. And cutting this one thing could transform how you feel, helping you build muscle and burn fat faster. Now, the team at Sculpt Nation reveals this testosterone killer in their eye-opening video. You can see it after this report, of course, by clicking the link below, sculptnation.com/NNN. Your body's potential awaits. So there is a massive carbon tax scheme we're about to expose. The global elites are forcing Canadians to pay a climate extortion fee on everything they buy. It's not about the environment, it's about control and wealth transfer. Half of Canadians are broke while politicians feast on your tax dollars. Here we have a liberal candidate admitting the truth on camera. We're not abandoning carbon taxes, we're applying them differently. The globalists, they think you're stupid. Too stupid to notice when they rename their tax schemes. The mask slips as they admit it was unpalpable to voters.
They made so much noise.
Stephen, do you believe carbon taxes are an effective way to reduce emissions?
The experts say it is. Every expert on the planet has said it was the most cost-effective way to do this, and unfortunately, 38 or 39% of the Conservative Party made so much noise about this that it became unpalatable. And so, it doesn't mean that we're going to abandon it. It just means it's going to have to be applied in a different way. And
Stephen, applied in a different way. We're not abandoning it, but all the experts say it's true. You just pay money and the carbon goes away, apparently. Half of Canadians are $200 away from financial ruin. To all my Canadian viewers right now, I hope you're able to see this. I actually got a message from a friend of mine. He showed me a post that I had made on Facebook. And it literally said, this post is not available in Facebook because Facebook doesn't allow news. Anyway, half of Canadians are $200 away from financial ruin. Record numbers at food banks, while Mark Carney refuses to answer how much his industrial carbon tax will cost. Steelworkers in Hamilton say it will decimate their industry. Follow the money. Jobs are going to America. Listen.
That's grim. So the debates are over, and now many Canadians are walking in to advance voting booths. Most Canadians are asking themselves this question: how can I afford this? How much is this going to cost me? The reason why they're asking that, of course, is because half of Canadians are broke. 50% of Canadians now say they're within $200 every month of not being able to make the minimum payment on all their bills. Meaning you're just keeping the credit card company from phoning you, you're keeping the lights on, and you're keeping the rent paid. That's grim. 50% of Canadians are in that boat right now. We are seeing record demand for food banks, especially from working families. What that really means is that a parent who's holding down a job is nonetheless still counting on donated jars of peanut butter to feed their kid. That's the situation that half of Canadians are in right now, fighting to afford basics. So Canadians care, how much will this cost me? How much will a politician's plans cost me? Will my life be more affordable under this person or that person? They want the answers to those questions. Spoiler alert, they don't care about media infighting and who gets to ask which question when, okay? By the way, journalists should never be paid by the government, ever. Journalists should speak truth to power, and they need to hold the government to account without counting on the government for their paycheck. So Canadians are worried about affording their lives, which is why it's really important to ask questions like, hey, Mr. Carney, how much will your industrial carbon tax cost Canadians? What's the price tag? So Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre asked Carney directly, how much will your industrial carbon tax add to the price of a car? We have a clip. Listen to this.
Sorry, can we get you to address his point about the industrial carbon tax?
How much will the industrial carbon tax add to the price of a car?
So the first thing I want to say is I'm going to address the broader point. Broader point is the entire absence of a climate plan from Mr. Poilievre, which, by the way, is going to put our industry and our country at a disadvantage as we're looking for new trading partners. Guess what? Most people want to deepen our partnership in Europe, in Asia. Those countries care about whether or not you've made progress. Second thing is, we're designing a program so that the big polluters pay Canadians at home for making responsible climate choices, for retrofitting their home, getting their emissions down, or improving otherwise. And that is smart climate policy. It's better for the big polluters, and it's better for Canadians.
So did you catch the answer there? No, me neither. Carney doesn't want to say how much his industrial carbon tax will cost because the answer is a lot. So if you put an industrial carbon tax on things like steel, it will make steel cost more. That will make things like vehicles and apartment buildings cost more. It will also drive jobs away by pushing the mills into the United States, which does not have a national industrial carbon tax, putting workers at a huge disadvantage, especially in places like Ontario. So much so that the steel pipe workers in Hamilton are endorsing the Conservatives over this, because in their words, they say that Carney's industrial carbon tax will decimate the steel industry around Hamilton. And they also say that the current industrial carbon tax is costing the steel industry mega millions of dollars. So this is why it's super important for people like Mark Carney, who's pushing his hidden industrial carbon tax forward, to answer the question, how much will the industrial carbon tax cost Canadians? Interestingly, one of his candidates in British Columbia just said that, oh no, the carbon tax isn't really gone. We just had to move it around because of noise that was coming out against it. But it's still going to be applied, just in a different way. Listen to this clip.
Stephen, do you believe carbon taxes are an effective way to reduce emissions?
The experts say it is.
Canada divided by a globalist carbon agenda. America's divided. This will make them weaker. Did you catch that? They're celebrating American weakness while forcing Canadians to chart their own path with massive carbon taxes.
This will make us stronger, but we will do them and we will win. America is divided. This will make them weaker with time. We are uniting. This will make us stronger. We can give ourselves so much more than the Americans can ever take away. So it's time to chart our own path, to realize our own potential, to build Canada strong. Thank you. Merci. But we will do.
Yeah, tax your people with carbon tax is going to make you stronger. And of course, the shocking attack on your food supply. Liberal plastics ban will increase food prices by 34%, shelf life reduced by 87%, food going straight to garbage instead of your family's table. Listen to this.
It gets dried out. You know, I ask you, how long does this bread stay fresh and edible if it's not packaged? You ever think of taking your bread out when you go home and just leaving it unwrapped? How many days do you think it would be good before it gets dried out and moldy? How long would the other fresh produce here stay edible if it could not be plastic wrapped? The answer is a lot less time. There'll be more waste in our foods, more food that goes into the garbage, and therefore more costs that Canadians pay for food they don't even get to eat. This law, you know, it sounds crazy, but it's right on the government website. The law would require grocery stores to get rid of 75% of food packaging by 2026 and 95% by 2028. Now, there's a reason grocery stores use plastic to protect and store food. And let me quote the government's own website on why that is. Plastic has become the most common material for food packaging, primarily because of its purported ability to reduce food loss and waste. It is inexpensive, lightweight, and flexible, suitable to meet product specifications such as heat and tear resistance.
They're going to starve themselves up there. And they're going to tax themselves to death. Go Canada. Conservatives vow to end the insanity, promising to axe the liberal food packaging tax and save families $400. Going to protect 60,000 Canadian jobs.
That Conservatives will bring change. We will axe the Liberal food packaging tax to save families $400 on groceries and to save 60,000 Canadians their jobs. We will repeal the federal plastics ban, including the ban on plastic straws, checkout bags, food containers, and cutlery, because consumers and businesses should be free to choose what works best for them. That conservatives...
Mark Carney admitting the carbon tax on consumers reduces emissions by 6%, then says the vast majority of reductions will come from large emitters. Translation, they're going to crush industry with carbon taxes that will be passed down to you.
Very much. And if you look at the emissions reductions that come from the consumer carbon tax alone, it's about 6%, six, of the overall emissions reduction. So it's something, but it's not very much. And so the vast majority of emission reduction work is being done by the large emitters, the large polluters. And what we've done there is tightening the carbon market, creating a new system where they are paying for emission reductions of households, so a positive incentive there, reinforcing investment tax credit and other element approaches to drive that clean energy investment. Remember, 80% of final emission reduction comes from final demand for energy, so it matters what happens in the energy system. We're driving that. Last point, we're looking to double the home building, but we're looking to double home building in a way that those new homes are emitting 20% less in the construction of those homes, and that those new homes are much more climate efficient when they're built. So you can say that's not a climate plan, because it's a home building plan, it's a plan for affordability. Both of those things are true. It's a plan that's targeted at younger Canadians, but it's a plan that's building an entire Canadian industry that is far more... If you look...
Oh, man. Brave Canadians are standing against tyranny. Police with automatic weapons sent to intimidate peaceful protesters fighting carbon tax. Patriots saying we've packed for 3 weeks. Armed forces protecting carbon tax while ignoring real crime.
Not with the police involvement here at this level, this could elicit an even bigger response like what we saw at Milk River. Is that what they want? I think they all need to call in sick, take COVID tests, and shut her down and say, I can't make it into work today.
Did you used to have faith in police?
Not really, but now it's really bad because they have tarnished the badge. Like I have no respect for them anymore. They should have stood down in Ottawa, but they didn't. So right now what they're doing, they're working for their corporation instead of taking care of we the people. So they're not taking care of us. They're ready to pounce on us anytime, and that's very sad.
They have hundreds of officers, and some of them have automatic weapons.
What are they going to do? You know, they've got too many people down here that just elicits a negative response, and it turns people against them, and then they wonder why. We saw what happened in Ottawa, we see what happened here, and we saw what happened in Coos, we saw what happened in Milk River. It's atrocious that this much money is being spent on this, when we've got as much rampant crime in these communities, and they won't do anything about it, but they'll stand arm in arm against civilians who are just exercising their God-given rights to actually protest the taxes, the carbon taxes, the cost of living, and we've had it.
The protest started yesterday and it's still going on the second day. When is it going to end?
Well, I've packed for 3 weeks. There's a few of us who have packed enough food for 3 weeks. There are some really nice people in the town close by in Cochrane that have volunteered to come and do our laundry for us. So we would like to stay here for as long as it takes to end the carbon tax.
Seems like the government is expecting this to evolve into Milk River, hence the huge police presence. But let me ask you this, is it time to kick our CMP out of Alberta?
Our CMP have no place in this province any longer, and that's what needs to happen here is the Alberta government needs to do a patch over and take the good RCMP officers that want to leave this force and become the provincial police force, and we'll leave the rest of these brethren behind. We'll call it a day, and Alberta will set the trail for how we're going to do policing in our own province, and it won't be beholden to Ottawa and the government in Ottawa that pushes these people out here.
That's what's happening in Canada. The carbon tax scam is the greatest transfer of wealth in history. It is not about climate, it's about control. When half of the Canadians can't pay their bills, the elites want to add more taxes, and the resistance is growing across Canada. So what's happening in Canada isn't just a national issue, it's a preview of what the global elite have in plan for all of us. It's not about reducing emissions. Their own Mark Carney admits that taxing consumers only reduces emissions by 6%. This is about control, compliance, and forcing a fundamental transformation of society against the will of its citizens. When officials boast that America is divided, this will make them weaker, you're hearing the mask slip. When armed officers intimidate peaceful protesters while families struggle to afford basic necessities, you're seeing the enforcement mechanism of the new order. When plastic bans cause food to go from shelf to landfill while claiming you save the environment, you're witnessing ideology triumph over reality. So the essential question every American should ask tonight, if they're willing to crush Canadian families with carbon taxes and plastic bans today, how long before they attempt the same here under the banner of a climate emergency? If half of Canada is now just $200 away from insolvency due to these policies, what future awaits us if we follow the same path? Drop a comment below. Stand against the global agenda by supporting the Next News Network by visiting our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. All right, let's take a live look at the White House now. It is nighttime there in the swamp. You can see the White House lit up right there. Beautiful sight to see. I'll be there next week. Looking forward to going. Let's go back and check out what's happening right now in the main news feed. What is happening? Okay, 1 hour ago, Minnesota governor analyst busted for Tesla vandalism spree. What a moron. What an absolute moron. Representative Mike Collins gives Senator Van Hollen's new office an El Salvador plate. Oh, Mike Collins slapped a mock plaque outside Senator Holland's office. It now reads El Salvador. Are you serious? Dude, that is top-level trolling right there. That is beautiful. Nicely done, Mike Collins. The family of Carmelo Anthony has quietly updated the description of the fundraiser to state that funds will not go towards legal defense, but also living expenses, travel expenses, and the cost of relocation. Isn't that interesting? U.S. Department of State has released a security alert for Damascus and Syria, stating the department is tracking credible information related to potential imminent attacks, including against locations frequented by tourists. That is in Damascus and Syria. When you support El Salvador's President Bukele tripling the size of the CCOP prison. What is this? This is the hand of the man the Democrats feel should be brought back to the United States because he's such a fine and innocent person. President Trump posted to Truth Social. They said he's not a member of MS-13, even though he's got MS-13 tattooed on his knuckles. And two highly respected courts found he was a member of MS-13, beat up his wife. I always like to take bad people out of the U.S. Among other things, I must be allowed to do my job. Wow. Can we zoom in on that? Look at that. Those are his knuckles. It says it right there in his hands. MS-13. Did Senator Van Hollen see that when he went to visit him in El Salvador? That is absolutely hilarious. Well done, President Trump. Thank you for sharing that. Checking in on the chat room. We're at 2297 and 30 new members tonight. Holy cow. You are go to make me get my recipe. Do you have a need for the need? Great job, Mr. President. Let him cook. Canada needs guns. Want to try make my sourdough? No needing. Not happening in the U.S. You guys are talking about sourdough recipes? Regards from Brazil, Gary. Thank you. A Brazilian from Brazil. What's up, translator? German Husky mix. Gary looks great, says Turtle Stomper. Thank you. Yeah, I'm back in the gym. and watching what I'm eating. So yeah, I'm really trying to get back to where I was about a year ago before I was demonetized and everything went to hell. Yeah, got a lot of work to do. But the weekend is here, and that's the show tonight. And I want to thank you for joining us. So as we wrap up tonight's Raw Feed on this sacred Good Friday, we've covered ground that will make our founding fathers both proud and deeply concerned. On this historic 250th anniversary of Paul Revere's Midnight Ride, we've carried on his legacy, sounding the alarm when liberty faces its greatest threats. We've exposed the accountability reset sweeping through Washington as Schedule F gives the president new power to purge those undermining America's comeback. The COVID truth is finally displayed on government websites, naming names and revealing a cover-up of biblical proportions. We've questioned why mainstream media is defending MS-13 gang members while ignoring American victims, cutting their feeds the moment truth threatens their narrative. We've celebrated D&I Gabbard's monumental decision to declassify thousands of RFK files that have been intentionally buried for 6 decades. And we pulled back the curtain on zero-point energy technology, the breakthrough that could liberate humanity from energy dependence, if only the powers that be would allow it. And we witnessed the swamp creatures scream as Trump's efficiency department cuts their bloated budgets and exposes their wasteful spending. And finally, we've shown you how Canadians are being crushed under globalist carbon taxes while armed police stand ready to silence dissent. A warning of what happens when citizens surrender their sovereignty to unelected bureaucrats. And just as Christ's sacrifice on Good Friday led to resurrection on Easter Sunday, America too stands at its moment of redemption. The darkness of corruption, censorship, and control is giving way to the light of truth, transparency, and freedom. I want to personally thank every patriot who sent in a super chat or Rumble rant tonight. Your voices matter, and we proudly amplify them when others would silence you. And to our members who support this mission, yes, 30 new members tonight, you are the backbone of the operation, the modern-day Minutemen in our information war. But yet we need your continued support to keep the torch burning. Please consider donating directly through the links in the description. Whether it's through Give, Send, Go, or PayPal, every dollar helps us bypass the censors and bring you the stories they want buried. And don't forget to visit our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Gear up with exclusive Next News swag that not only supports our mission, but signals to others that you are awake and engaged in the battle for America's soul. So as we head towards Easter Sunday, remember that resurrection isn't just a spiritual concept. It is America's story. Through darkness comes dawn. Through sacrifice comes salvation. And through truth comes freedom. This is Gary Franchi signing off on the Raw Feed. The modern-day riders have sounded the alarm. So the question is, are you ready to answer the call? We'll see you next time, Patriots. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.